just here to give my opinion and carry It's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Oh, hold on now. We're almost there. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, all that good stuff. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. That's show we basically talk about things going on in pop culture, hot topics, and all that good stuff. So, and of course, we might get a little political in case y'all haven't ever watched the show and you're tuning in for the first time. So, if that's a show for you, definitely stick around because we got a lot of tea to spill today as I'm like literally doing a multitude of things as I try to talk to y'all. Got to charge the phone, got to do all that mess, including uh we got to talk about the latest on Nick Reiner and all the gruesome details about how they found his parents and other good stuff. And child, they're trying to get the death penalty on this child. So we got that plus the Avatar Fire and Ash reviews are in, and they're not that good. So we'll get into that. Plus, we got to talk the It Welcome to Derry finale. If y'all have not seen it, sorry, but it's been out for 2 days. So you got enough time. So we got to get into that. Plus, we got some news regarding the Breakfast Club joining forces with Netflix along with other podcasts. I told you Netflix is getting into the podcast in space. We got the list of shows that's actually going to you'll be able to see over there and no longer be able to see on YouTube. So yeah, the Netflix is trying to go and is trying to, battle YouTube and stuff for viewership and things of that nature. Plus, Trey Songz can't seem to keep himself out of trouble. He was just arrested after punching someone who worked at a New York City nightclub who basically just told him it's time to go, which is literally what I do every night when I'm working at the Garden. So now somebody could just come up to you and just hit you because, yeah, it's closed. You got to go. Go party at your own damn house if you got one. So we got to talk about that. Plus, it looks like Madonna and Guy Ritchie, her ex-husband, who y'all know have kind of been for about almost 2 decades, they put on a united front for their son, who recently had a art exhibit, I believe in London or whatever. We'll get into that story. Plus, we got sad news. We did mention it was mentioned after I did the topic on heated rivalry, but it came out during the show that Boots, another homosexual show that was over there on Netflix. Speaking of which, y'all trash it. Now I'm about to windmill on y'all when we get to that topic. They were canceled by the streamer after one season, so we'll get into that story and the cast speaking out about it. Plus, speaking of heated rivalry, Jordan Firstman is walking back his comments where he basically criticized the show's sex scenes. An ex-hockey player is actually taking a different approach to what he believes this show will do for future closeted hockey players after Sean Avery, who was a professional for the New York Rangers, said that he thinks that it will help people come out. An ex-hockey player who happens to be homosexual is saying he don't think it's going to help the gays. Plus, we got some news, some drag race news. Bianca Del Rio is coming back to host a familiar drag race recap show. Lady Bunny went and dragged RuPaul on social media last night. I took the screenshot so we could talk about it. Rob Hudson, according to Armistead Maupin, who wrote Tales of the City, he said that he was packing between me down there. And Ricky Martin can't seem to keep his hands off these OF models because apparently he might be canoodling with one. So we're going to talk about that, the pictures, and a whole lot more. So before we get to those topics, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Let me hit my banner. Let me go over to the comments. I'm like, I hope everybody can hear me because I had to fix the audio situation. Yeah, I see it in here. You said, "What's going on, everyone? Cleveland's in the building." Lady Bunny, Shade RuPaul, do tell. Oh, we'll be getting to it. Uh, good evening. Good evening. I heard Nick got a hotel room after he left the house and tried to hide out. Oh, yeah, we'll get into the details of that. And Moises, I believe is how you say your name. Mendez says, "Hey, from California." Yeah, that's so it's a 3 hour difference. It's like 4 o'clock over there. How y'all doing, my West Coast people? Once upon a time I used to live over there and in Silver Lake. And then Silver Memory says, new episode, But oh yeah, shout out to I'm gonna give a quick shout out to Armand Wiggins, because guess what? A bitch went viral yesterday, and that bitch being me. because apparently he reposted my Nicki Minaj article that I did yesterday, and he referenced it on his conversation about Nicki. And so I'm watching the episode. I'm like, wait a minute now. Why did I say Chris Avalon up in there? So a bitch is moving on. I told her these YouTubers be knowing about I was gonna say the doll, but I'm not a drag queen, or I'm not a trans woman. But shout out to my fellow contemporaries in this YouTube space. It's like I live for y'all, except for some of y'all, some of these other bitches we ain't gonna mention. Because it was talking about how like T.S. Madison hasn't spoken out about the whole situation. Take care, y'all. It's like you came in as fast as you left. We like keeping our people up in here. But anyway, let me get to our first topic. Excuse me. And let's get into hold on, because I gotta close this other thing before there's some feedback. Let's get into Rob Reiner and this whole tea regarding T, I hate when people say it's not tea. Tea means information. That is a gay term. I hate when people come in and try to tell us our terminologies and things and how we should be using it. It's like tea means information, gossip, things that are coming out regarding whatever the conversation may be, as well as like when people. I'm not even gonna get into the whole tangent about it because some people be having a problem with some of the terminology we be using and thinking that it's supposed to be offensive, like fish. Fish does not mean you smell like fish. Fish basically means that you're fierce, you're over, you look like you're giving full-on woman. That's what fish means. It's like fabulous, gorgeous, down. That's what fish mean. It don't mean that now if your pussy smell like fish, you may need to get that checked out. But that's not what we mean when we refer to women as fish. Anyway, let me start that over because I went on a whole tangent about fish. But okay, Act 2, action, all that good stuff. Let's talk about this latest tea on Rob Reiner. So, investigators are literally, as we knew what was going to happen after all this story came out regarding Rob Reiner and his unfortunate death and his wife as well being unalived at the hands of their own child. Someone they created literally just took their life. Um, Insiders are now revealing disturbing details about how they were taken out of the world. And you already know, like, with all the information and stuff that was coming out, that people were going to be taking a deep dive and digging into the investigation and trying to find out what had happened. So let's get into that story. Did I forget to put? Yes, I did. Hold on. Because I forgot to take that picture and put it. I was like, how I forget to do that? That was supposed to be the first thing I did. But this is what happens when you be rushing, trying to put a show together. That's not the one I want to use. This one. Okay, we're good. So let's get into it, okay? So Rob Reiner and his wife Michele were found in bed with their throats cut and may have been asleep when they were unalived. That ain't the word they use. They use the M word. Red rum. A source close to the investigation claimed to the Daily Mail. The gruesome detail could help establish a timeline of the killings for which the couple's 32-year-old son, or their troubled son, Nick, had been arrested. The Reiners died sometime between Saturday evening, when Nick was seen acting erratically and arguing loudly with his parents at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, and around 3:30 p.m. on Sunday, when their daughter Romy called 911 after having discovered their bodies at the family's LA mansion. Quote, he could have done it not long after they all went home, meaning he went there and slit their throats in the middle of the night. They were in bed when that happened. That's why I said I agree that's what happened, because I'm sitting there like, if I get into an altercation with a family member and I'm so enraged and I got all these things going through my mind, I'm pissed off because we had this heated argument, and it was probably because the parents was tired of your bullshit. It's like, you know what, we've been trying to get you clean, we've been trying to help you, we've been, and basically, low-key enabling his behavior, and he knew it, and you basically was just so enraged that your pussy ass behind decided to wait until your parents slept so you can commit the crime, because you ain't had the balls to do it while they was wide awake. Now, it do take nerve and balls to kill somebody when they're awake, rather than, I'm gonna wait till they sleep and then I'm gonna do it. When someone's at their most vulnerable. And using a knife on someone, not only is that vulnerable to do it while they're asleep because there's no way for them to defend themselves. But um using a knife on someone is very intimate compared to like say a pow pow. So the LAPD has not officially confirmed any details to where in the house the Reiners' bodies were found. Well, they said it was in the bed. I mean, so couldn't it have been in a bedroom, or were they sleeping in some other part of the house? Or it's like, oh, I can't be sleeping in my bed because I got sleep apnea or whatever. So I go, my wife says I snore loud, so I sleep in the guest room or whatever. Like maybe it's something like that, but or because as I've said it many a times before, I'm all for separate bedrooms. Like we could live in the same house, but I do like the idea of you got your room, I got mine. So we have all our separate stuff. And if we need to come together and get a little yum yum bouncy bouncy in, then yeah, we can come collectively in the same bed and do that. Or any other part of the house. But for the most part, I would prefer my own bedroom, with of course my own bathroom. So they said, but the claim that his parents was found unalive in the bed could suggest a small mercy in the tragic incident that they may have been killed in their sleep. TMZ first reported that Reiner, who's 78, had a very loud argument with his son at O'Brien's holiday bash on Sunday night, after which the legendary movie director and his wife left. One partygoer told People magazine that Nick was freaking everyone out, acting crazy, kept asking people if they were famous. Fears for the Reiner's safety were only raised when a masseuse arrived at the $13.5 million mansion in the Brentwood district of LA at 2 p.m. the next day, and no one answered the door. This is what the Daily Mail previously revealed. Their 27-year-old daughter, Rami, who lives across the street, then reportedly investigated and called emergency services when she discovered the horrific scene. The LA Fire Department says first responders were called to the Reiner home around 3:30 p.m. on Sunday and tried to render aid to the stabbed couple to no avail. Nick, one of the Reiner's three children, had been living in the mansion's guest house, a source close to him told the Daily Mail. Nick had been living in their guest house, the same one he destroyed more than once, but it had been like a revolving door all his adult life. He would do meth and not sleep for days and then have outbursts, breaking things, punching walls. I remember, hold on, before we get to the rest of the story, I remember hearing a story. Oh, who it was? Somebody might have been on this channel yesterday that they went and said that they believe that because I was like, he was talking about how he would stay up days on end and how he would be freaking out and he would just destroy things. And I definitely think that's a meth binge. It just didn't click in my head at the time. But um based on I don't remember who it was, but somebody said that it might have been due to, them being a Methodist. And it turns out y'all was right. So whoever said that in yesterday's show, shout out to y'all. But anyway, let's get back into the article. So they say he was a ticking time bomb. His drug use was getting worse, and his parents wanted him out. Claimed the friend. Nick himself admitted to wrecking the guest house in a drug-fueled rage in a 2018 interview on addiction podcast Dopey. And child, not y'all naming an addiction podcast Dopey. I'm like, what are y'all doing? But anyway, there was something else I was going to add to that, but I'm just like, let's move on. There was another picture I found of him. Look, they posted this picture of him like out literally on the street, homeless. Clearly, you look at him and see he's on something. Might be the meth, and that's a prominent drug if you ever been out in LA. And trust and believe, I worked in downtown LA, and you literally have to go to Skid Row to get to the place that I was working at the time. And it was just a sad sight to see. It was just blocks upon blocks upon blocks of homeless people. So they said, he said, I started with the TV and then I went over to the lamp and then progressively just everything in the guest house got wrecked. He told host David Manheim, adding that he was spun out on uppers like booger sugar. A witness told TMZ he appeared tweaked out, though no signs of a confrontation. But when staff went to clean his room later that morning, the shower was full of blood with blood stains on the bed and bed sheets covered the windows. LAPD homicide detectives have investigated and interviewed hotel workers, the site reported. The director's son was then arrested at 9:15 p.m. on Sunday night, according to his booking record. He was picked up about 15 miles away from the Brentwood home near a metro station and the University of Southern California. Not the metro station, the University, because I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute now. Now I feel like when they said near metro station and the University of Southern California campus, I feel like I've been over in that area when I lived out in LA. So it's like, it's all sounding familiar. But anyway, let me get back to the story. He says he is currently in the Twin Towers, not the Twin Towers, correctional facility in downtown LA and had been expected to appear in court on Tuesday. However, his attorney, Alan Jackson, said he has not been medically cleared to appear. Well, I'm also hearing that they're really trying to push for the death penalty with him. They said it's customary for a defendant to be arraigned at their first court appearance where they are advised of the charges against them. They are given the opportunity to enter a plea and bail can be discussed. I don't think it's getting bail. That was Mary here. Didn't they say like 8 million, 4 million, something like that they were going to put it out on? I don't know where he getting that money from because his parents is dead. The very people that were bailing him out every time whenever he was going through whatever the hell he was going through. Your bank tellers, the people that ran your little bank account, your parents who basically was taking care of you, sir, you done killed them. So you're gonna be stuck where you at. And I don't even think he's ever getting out of prison. But then, like I said before, they're pushing for the death penalty with him because Rob Shooter posted this today. Shout out to him. He says sources tell me prosecutors are leaning forward hard, framing the Nick Reiner case a capital crime after the brutal double unaliving of Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle. Hollywood is stunned, furious, and yes, divided. And yeah, because I even saw that like everybody in the comedy space, late night, last night, everybody paid tribute to Rob Reiner. Even Jimmy Kimmel came out and said something, but also went in and basically scalped what's left of the hair on top of his head, Donald Trump, from over the vile stuff that he ended up saying, which he's doubling down on. But of course, when you've got a serious case of Alzheimer's and any kind of impulse control goes away, allegedly, this is what happens. You're going to double down on your stupidity. So they said this wasn't just a crime, it was a betrayal. One industry insider fumes to me. People want the strongest possible punishment. They want the book thrown. I'm told the prosecution sees the special circumstances of a double homicide as their opening, even in death penalty averse California. Insiders say they're aiming high to signal just how serious this is, saying they're pushing death penalty language to send a message, a legal source tells me. The case shocked the city, but not everyone is cheering. It said it feels wrong, especially knowing Rob spent decades opposing capital punishment. He believed it was immoral. This would break his heart. Yeah, because one of the things about that people, I guess, may not know about Rob Reiner is that, yes, he was like very much iconic within the film and the TV world. Like, I think anybody who is 40 and up grew up on Rob Reiner. And even from All in the Family, which of course would be probably people in their 50s and up. But I was aware of All in the Family because, like I said, I wasn't born yet when the show came out, but I was aware of the reruns and seeing all those shows, that the Jeffersons, Good Times, Maud, all those shows. I remember seeing reruns of those when I was a kid. So I was aware of All in the Family and him being on the show playing Mike Meathead, which is what um, Carol O'Connor called him, his character, Archie Bunker called him that on the show. So, and then going from that to like directing some of my favorite movies, Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, this is Spinal Tap. Like when he's directed, and I think he did direct the new one that came out, which I heard wasn't that great. I remember when I went to the movies to see other films, I would see advertisements for it. But other than that, I was like, yeah, I heard the new sequel didn't do all that well, but people adore the first one. So Rob Reiner is an icon, of course, when Harry Met Sally. So many great movies that he's directed over the years, and him being married to Penny Marshall and so many other things. And now he's always been pretty much an activist, pushing hard for same-sex marriage and that sort of thing. So he's been a real one out in these streets, like being an activist on the same level as like a Jane Fonda or something. So if he would be totally against this, just say, like, you know what? Just leave his ass in jail and never let him out. Kind of like the Menendez brothers. Just leave him in prison and for life. Because for somebody to do something so immoral and kill their parents, especially when people have nothing but the nicest things to say about Rob Reiner and his wife. Like, and that's the worst thing too. Like, people who do so good, so many great things in the world, they end up being taken out early. They ended up they end up with some of the most horrific things happening to them. And they've done so much good in the world. And then we get people who do some of the most vile, disgusting things, and they're still here. Why? I'm sure you can read between the lines with what I'm saying without me actually saying it, so that way I get in trouble. But y'all know what I'm saying. If you know what I'm saying, I think you do. But anyway, so I understand people are angry, but this is not something for y'all to be angry about. If anybody who needs to be angry, it's Rami, because her brother took out her mother and her father. So she literally is on this earth by herself. Her brother's in jail for killing her parents. So she's literally out here alone and having to deal with this trauma, the trauma of seeing her parents dead and her brother being the one that did it. So I can only imagine what she's going through right now. So I think people need to get off of that. Now, moving on from that, and then we can move on from this story. Let's get into, speaking of talk shows and things. Michelle Obama appeared on one of the talk shows last night and revealed something that had me gagged. So basically, wait, hold on, let me close this and then because I don't want to have too many windows open. Okay, so she revealed, well, speaking of Jimmy Kimmel, she did appear on Jimmy Kimmel's show last night, and she said that she and Barack were supposed to meet Rob and Michelle on Sunday night before hearing that the couple had been found dead in their house. I would play out a clip, but it's ABC. I don't want to get demonetized. So I'm gonna just read y'all what she had to say. She said, "We've known them for many, many years, and we're supposed to be seeing them that we were supposed to be seeing them that night, last night. The show came in on Monday, and we got the news. Rob and Michelle Reiner were found, as y'all know. Well, we don't need to go through this again. There was an outpouring of shout for from Hollywood in the death of the legendary director who helmed The Princess Bride and When Harry Met Sally and his wife, a celebrated photographer and producer. However, the asshole in the White House took to Lie Social to say that Rob Reiner, a harsh critic of the president, had died due to anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable obsession with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. Well, the only one we know is deranged is the one that wrote this damn post on live social. So, it's funny how people were just upset over what Trump said, and I can't believe he was stupid. I'm like, there is no low. This man won't stoop. If it's the bottom of the sewer, he will find a way to stoop lower than that. If it's full of shit and swill. So I don't know why people are surprised that Donald Trump is showing his entire ass. The man has never had tact. He's never had couth. He's never actually cared about anyone but himself. He's a narcissistic, psychopathic moron who everything he touches turns to manure, not gold. So why are people surprised by this? And if you were ever expecting this man to be presidential, then I got $4 billion that I could just give you off rip. So um Jimmy Kimmel did say this because he did say it in his monologue. So I'll just read that and then we'll move on. So it said, "It's so hateful and vile." This is what he said of the post. "When I first saw it, I thought it was fake. My wife showed it to me this morning. I was like, even for him, that seemed like too much. But nothing is ever too much for him." Literally what I just said. I'm like, there's no low. This man won't stoop. And yeah, there has been quite a few people that were doing stories on this yesterday that would say, "I don't think he said that. That's a lie. That's AI. That's fake." No, whenever this man comes out and says something, you would think that it would be some AI type mess, but it's like, no, this man proves to you just how much of a loser and a lunatic he is. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the latest? I'm sure, of course, because it's still a relatively new situation. This will be a conversation that will be going on and on and on and on and on for a while. So I'm gonna just let the legal people do what they do, and whatever latest news comes out on this, I will keep you guys abreast of the story as it develops. In the meantime, I definitely want to hear from you all regarding this story. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I watched Kathy Griffin's video she posted earlier about spending time with Rob and his dad and mentioned her brother Kenny, who had mental health troubles. So that was probably something that they could relate to because they had mental health issues. I mean, her brother had mental health issues and they probably bond over that because the son had it as well. You know, that meth, I'm sure that meth probably fucks with your brain too. I would have to ask some people who well, I actually know one person that's a recovering meth addict. I would have to talk to them about it. Straights not understanding queer terms reminds me of. Oh, please trust and believe. I have a clip when we get to the boot segment, and I want to talk. There was this clip I came across on Gay Magazine where this girl had the nerve to go, no tea, no shade. But I don't understand why so many gay couples or things are being put on my shows and TV and all this stuff. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, this dumb sada cockeyed bitch is going to sit up in here. But hold on, let me just say my reads when we get to the segment. How you going to use our lingo and then try to bash the very community you stealing the lingo from? Like, where they do that at? Okay, that part. Yeah, your mama was a loser too. She should have swallowed. Okay, so let's move on. What's the next comment? You think Trump is gonna fire Susan Wiles because she spilled everything retribution, wanting oil, Musk being on cap. Look, I'm living all the shade. We'll see. Not Carrie. Michelle Obama looking more like a man every day. Well, look, she'll be more man than you'll ever be and more woman than you'll ever have. Because I'd love to see what your monkey ass look like. These people swear they just gonna come up in here and try to read them in the comments like y'all about some shit. It's like y'all will get cussed the fuck out. Trust and believe. Boots can be shipped everywhere else. So like I said, queer shows need to leave Netflix. Yeah. Um that's probably what needs to happen. It's like don't take your programming to Netflix. That's why it's like people still worried about what's going to happen with Netflix and the type of content that they're going to be, pumping out now that once they acquire. I can't say now that they have because everything hasn't been sealed yet. Once it has been once they acquire Warner Brothers Discovery. But anyway, let's move on and get back to the show. Let's talk about Avatar firing trash because according to these reports, that's literally what they should have named it instead of Fireman Ash. So Avatar, as I'm gonna call it the rest of the show, Fire and Trash, the forthcoming third movie in billionaire director just came out that James Cameron's a billionaire. And I'm like, why are we surprised? First of all, he's had a multitude of billion-dollar films. The first two Avatar movies made over $1 billion. Titanic made over $1 billion. And I believe those are the only three movies that he's made that has grossed $1 billion. I could be wrong, but off the top of my head, I believe those are the only three. And I'm sure he's hoping with this new Avatar movie, it's going to happen. I don't think it will, but if it does, then I'll come on here and I'll just be like, okay, so I was wrong. But they're calling it the weakest. Well, critics are divided, I should say, and they're calling the weakest installment in the franchise yet, as it logs the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score for any Avatar movie. And like I told y'all before, whenever I've looked at Avatar and those other stuff, I've never been overly excited about Avatar and things of that nature. I've always felt like, in my opinion, it was always cute to look at. Like all style, no substance is basically what I'm trying to say. It was like visually it looks great and everything, but it's never been a show or program that I'm like, oh my God, I have to pop on Avatar once a year and watch that movie. That has never been one of my favorite things. And I don't even think there's people out there that really have that same feeling. Maybe they did a while back, but tastes change, things change, time changes, people change. And so when you take these long breaks in between with this franchise and you make them too damn long, I don't know if the momentum will still be there, but we'll see when we get that box office report next weekend. So James Cameron's Avatar Fire and Trash arrives in theaters this weekend, and the review embargo is now lifted. Like the social media reactions, the full reviews are mostly quite positive, but there is one common criticism running through a lot of these write ups. As you'd expect, the visuals from and action sequences come in for pretty much universal praise, and several critics have hailed the threequel as a technical masterpiece. The movie's new villain, Varang, played by Una Chaplin, is also said to be a major highlight. I've also heard that, yeah, they're saying that the new villain is a highlight and they wanted more of her, but that was the only downside to the whole situation. Like they loved the villain who they had up in there, but they wanted more of that character. Okay, so where am I? On the more negative side, Fire and Trash is said to feel way too repetitive and far too similar to the previous film, The Way of Water. At the end of the day, it doesn't sound like this movie is going to make any converts, but devotees of the previous films will want to catch the sci-fi spectacle on the big screen. Fire and Trash currently sits at 71% on Rotten Tomatoes based on 100 reviews. There's still plenty of room for fluctuation, but as things stand, this marks the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score in the franchise so far, following The Way of Water's 76%. And the original movie's 81%. And it's funny they say this because they basically said that, yeah, it feels way too repetitive and far too similar to the previous film. That has been the overall complaint that I remember when, what was it? I was watching, I think Christian Holland did a report on it when he was doing it with Roxy, who loved the movie. He saw it, but forget who else. There was a couple of other people saw it. They all said the same thing. They were like, yeah, it does repeat a lot of the beats of Way of Water, but they didn't mind it. They were like, okay, yeah, it repeats some of the same beats, but I didn't mind the fact that they repeated the same beats. I still wanted to hang out in this world. I still wanted to, like, it was just I guess maybe they were so mesmerized by all the spectacle of it all that that's why they stuck with it. But anyway, so let's go through some of these reviews. Share the screen with y'all so we can all read it as a class. So Sedant Adlaka said the following. They said, James Cameron does it again. Avatar Fire and Ash is bigger, longer, more unwieldy, and the most enthralling Hollywood blockbuster in years. Stirring spectacle, retching melodrama, overwhelmingly beauty. No one's making old school religious epics like this. Oh, so you're trying to convert the Christians? I don't know if they'd be here for the blue people. So wait, no, I don't want to do that. Hold on now. Then Slash Film said the following. They said Avatar Fire and Ash is a visual and oral feast, and everyone looking for a big knockout blockbuster to close out 2025 will be far from will. Okay, y'all, there's a glitch in the matrix. Close out 2025 will be far from disappointed. I think is what they meant, and they didn't proofread before they hit send. But sometimes that happens. Empire said this is truly epic cinema, no more than worth plugging into for 3 hours. Avatar Fire and Ash sees James Cameron's return to Pandora as the grieving Sully family faces new villain Varang in cinemas this Friday. IGN says what Avatar Fire and Ash lacks in novelty, it more than makes up for with familiar characters and a satisfying finale that's worth the wait. Joe Blow says Avatar Fire and Ash review, another electrifying, visceral experience. So I guess you can click over to Joe Blow and read their full article. Shurya Chawla says Avatar Fire and Ash, much like the first two movies, is a visual, spectacular experience, but also the most emotional entry so far, building on the world and the characters in fascinating ways. I loved it. And David Ehrlich says Avatar Fire and Ash, James Cameron finally made a movie that feels like something you've seen before. Limp stuff, if only for his unreasonably high standard. And I'd guess his last Avatar film. Love the Na'vi Fire Dome, though. How many more? I hate when it does this, when it starts shaking. The Cosmic Circus, Avatar Fire and Ash, more like Fire and Rehash. Collider says Avatar Fire and Ash review. James Cameron's epic franchise still stuns, but there's a major problem at its heart. I guess you got to go over there and read the article to find out what's the major issue. The Hollywood Reporter said Avatar Fire and Ash, Una Chaplin brings witchy villainy, but James Cameron's third sci-fi saga installment is stuck on repeat. And Variety says Avatar Fire and Ash, the story is fine, the action awesome, is the as the third Avatar film does new variations on a no longer new vision. So it's like you're not giving people anything new. I mean, it's great that you have all this new tech things that you're using. And that's one of the things I've always loved about James Cameron is the fact that he's always been the one to push the envelope when it comes to cinema and technology and stuff. Like we saw it with Terminator, we saw it with so many aliens, we saw it, and then we see it with this film. The Avatar franchise, like he's always pushed the boundaries in regards of how he tells stories visually. And that sort of thing. He's not like um Zack Snyder, where it's all style and no substance. Because a lot of his films do have substance that goes with the style. That's why I like a lot of his earlier films. Like, I mean, well, yeah, even Titanic. Like Titanic is not one of those crazy Terminator type films, but the emotional aspect of that story, the sets and all the visual, all that stuff, the spectacle that was a part of that movie, that's what made me love that film. And I didn't mind sitting through that long movie when it came out back in the day because I saw that in the movies. And then the rap, last but certainly not least, said Avatar Fire and as James Cameron's repetitive, hypocritical sequel gives us the blues. So it looks like the rap didn't like Avatar Fire and Rehash all that much. But yeah, and then they also said, what was the rest of the thing? Okay, look, the first two movies were massively successful. I'm sure Fire and Ash will probably do relatively well. Now, in regards of um, will the new movie do as well financially as the previous two? That's TBD, especially with how fickle people are these days. People don't have time to be sitting in the movies for 3 hours unless you're a hardcore moviegoer wanting to watch a film like Avatar. So it all depends on the situation. I feel like I don't remember when did the last one come out. The last I don't think it says because they said we got a Avatar 4 and 5 coming out and they're in various stages of production. And so Avatar 4 is coming out in what is this, 2025? 2029, and then in 2031. These long gaps he's putting in between releasing these movies, um, that may cause a problem. I don't know, because like I said, the way that the industry is changing so much and the way people take in and receive movies, I don't know if people even care anymore about Avatar the way they did when the first two movies came out because it was like these big gaps in between. Like you have Avatar coming out in 2025 at the end of 2025 going to 2026. So it's what like thinking about it, it's 4 years from now we're getting the next sequel. And then after that, it's 2 more years before that final movie comes out. Hopefully at James Cameron at big age, he'll live long enough to finish this franchise and be able to do all of it because he's not young. He's not getting any younger either. So we'll see how well the film does at the box office. I don't know. Like I said before, like I applaud him for all the visual aspects he brings to this franchise. But I've never been like a somebody that's like, oh my God, this is like one of my favorite franchises of all time. Like it's pretty to look at. I'll probably just wait until it comes out on TV or whatever. Look, quiet as it's kept. Don't throw tomatoes at me, but I ain't even see The Way of Water. So I've only seen the first Avatar. Um, I just never felt the need to just like, oh my God, I need to see this movie. And then there was been so many times where I've seen it's been up on the streaming services. I just never found the time to or the patience to sit down and be like, okay, I gotta watch this long ass movie. Who knows? Maybe one of these days I'll watch it and be like, oh my God, this was so good. Let me go use my A list to go get a ticket and go see it in IMAX or Dolby. Maybe I'll find the time to do that. But usually I go way early in the morning to go see movies on a weekday because I know a lot of y'all are at work and at school that I do that. But I'm like, if it cuts into my gym time and I don't get to work out before I go to work, I'm gonna be tight. But then again, I just got a message from my gym today where they said they finally have morphed itself into a 24-hour gym. So I'm like, well, shit, if I actually have to go to the gym at midnight or 1 in the morning, I might start doing that. But anyway, so I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Regarding everything regarding Fire and Ash. Does this deter you from wanting to see the movie? You gonna go see the movie regardless. Well, if y'all do see it, let me know how it is. But in the meantime, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. He said, "Let's hope Billy can make a billion." The person right next to him said, "Love Billy, but she's no Taylor Swift. She doesn't have that fan." Well, we'll see. I do find it quite bizarre that they're releasing a Billie Eilish directed concert from James Cameron in theaters. She's been touring around the world. She's got a pretty big fan base. She did, I forget how many nights she did at MSG. I think she did like 2 nights. No, they said the same shit about Dula Peep, that she didn't have a big fan base. She did 4 nights sold out at the Garden. She did a couple of nights sold out in LA. So they do have a lot bigger fan base. People think that just because y'all don't be hearing them on the charts like we did back in the day, that they don't have a big fan base. So people need to stop thinking about that. They have loyal fans. Not bought reviews. What even is this franchise? I don't even know. I have no idea what Avatar is about. And I'm sure if you ask anybody, they'd sit and go, "Oh, it's about the Navi, and these people do this, and they flying around, and they're blue." And I'm like, that's not telling me what the plot of the movie is. Like, what is the movie about? Global warming? I saw a video of Sigourney being asked if there was a movie she liked to do again, and she said Heartbreakers. Well, she's been talking about doing another Alien movie. I don't know if we need another Alien movie from her. I know speaking of which, since you brought her up, I did hear that she's going to appear in the new Tomb Raider series with what's her name? That plays Sansa Stark on Game of Thrones. She's playing Lara Croft, and Sigourney Weaver's going to be on the show. So I'm like, that sounds like great news. So I'm excited for that. 2022. Yeah, so about 3 years ago. Yeah, because gyms be closing at a certain time, but now they're trying to do the whole 24-hour thing. I'm like, "Shell, how does that gonna work?" All like the Rise of Animal Kingdom in Disney, they are more visual than anything. The Navi River journey is pretty, but so short. Oh, like I said, it's like it's all solid, no substance. All right, y'all. Now, speaking of a show that has style and substance, let's talk about It Welcome to Derry. So last night, I finally caught up on the last 3 episodes because I know everybody was like, "Did you watch it yet? Did you watch it yet? Did you watch it yet? Did you watch it yet?" Like I was stuck. Did you watch It Welcome to Derry yet? Yes, I finally got around to watching, and I must say, this was a great season one. This might be blasphemous to say, but I actually think this show was way better than Stranger Things. Now, I'm looking forward to seeing Stranger Things, the second half of the show, when it come out next week on Christmas, on Christmaka, if you want to call it that. Shout out to Seth Cohen from the OC. That's why I got to love that damn show. But one of the things I would like to say is because I was a little worried when I first heard about it and everything. I'm gonna be honest. Well, I think when it comes to it, regardless, I always like the first chapter with the kids, but then when you get to the adult part, it kind of falls off. And that happened with the original '90s Tim Curry miniseries, where when the adults became the adults, whatever. I didn't particularly like that part of the miniseries, and I didn't like the adult part when Andy Muschietti did it chapter two. I just felt like it was just lacking, or maybe that's what it is. It's like the adults it was lacking, but they were able to find a balance with this. It's like, yeah, you have the adults that were doing whatever, but you really paid attention and served the kids. And I am so slow because it dawned on me. It didn't dawn on me until like the final episode that literally. Maybe it's because it wasn't really mentioned that Pennywise, this creature, whoever he is, travels in. Well, he said that the past, the present, and the future is all simultaneous. So he literally traveled back in time, which is why at the end you saw Beverly Marsh, where she saw the woman hanging. And I was like, "Beverly, what's she doing up in here?" So that Easter egg, and then they showed the picture of Mike, where it was saying he was missing and all that other stuff. So I like a lot of those Easter eggs and stuff. Well, she was showing the girl with I forgot her name, the one with the that gouged the eye out, because apparently that's her son in the future. And so I didn't realize that this show was basically about Pennywise going in the past to kill off the parents of the future losers club that was going to take him out at the end of it. So I don't know where they're gonna go in regards of like what season 2 is gonna bring and all the other stuff, but apparently Andy Muschietti because it was a good scene. And I'm still mad because y'all killed Rich off. I was like, I was so mad when that little boy died. I was like, he was my favorite. I was like, he reminds me so much of me when I was a kid. A big old flirt, very much potty mouth, even though he wasn't saying potty mouth stuff, but he was a little, rebellious. And I like the little drum scene when they was in the juke joint before the racists showed up to find the little girl's father. So yeah, he was my favorite, and there was a scene in the finale that I was like my all time favorite. Like that will be etched forever in my brain regarding what happened with Rich. But let's get into the story. So. Andy Muschietti is revealing what he has planned regarding future chapters of the prequel series now that season one is wrapped. Now, in It Welcome to DERRY season finale titled Winter Fire, Pennywise was vanquished, but only after it was revealed, excuse me, that the entity experiences time differently from humans. To it, all of time is happening simultaneously, past, present, and future. Pennywise knows it dies decades from when the series takes place, but suggests that its death may, in fact, be its birth and what led to the creature traveling back through time to kill the ancestors of the Losers Club. Now, talking to Deadline via FearHQ.com about introducing the idea that after being foiled in 1962, 1989, and 2016, so that's literally what is going to happen. Like, does that mean that we're getting a 19? Well, we already had the 1962. So is 20 season two going to take place in 1989, and then the finale one is going to be taking place in 2016. Wait, hold on. Let me just read it because they literally tell you what happens. So they said that I'm not gonna find out where the hell I was. Pennywise will next travel back to 1935. Filmmaker Andy Muschietti explained that the idea was very much inspired by Stephen King's It novel. He says his experience of time is non-linear. How is that and why? What is That's a whole exploration that we intend to flesh out during the next two seasons. But that was pretty much the idea from the beginning. He said the pitch to Stephen King was we're going to tell a story backwards, and it has to do with that hint. This begs well, obviously, so now going back on this whole thing, it's like, no, when you're talking about 1989 and 2016, of course, It Chapter 1 was 1989, It Chapter 2 was 2016. So 1962, of course, you had the whole situation of what season one was. So now he's going further back to like the 30s, where we're gonna explore that world. And then I guess in that situation, we'll go back to the 1900s when he encountered that clown who was I forget what the clown's name was in the franchise. Well, Pennywise the clown. So he basically just I was like, wait, I forgot the clown's name. Pennywise the clown. That's why he takes on that form because we saw in that episode of he goes and encounters this kid and then takes him out into the woods and basically demonic creature, that creature rolls and embodies his physical form. So he says that we're going to know more about the Bob Gray of things, and we're going to know more about Ingrid because Ingrid was around in the 30s. Our second season happens in 1935. In theory, I think it's a pretty tragic character. She's a very specific, very unique character because she's a victim and she's a perpetrator too. Absolutely. She damn sure was a perpetrator because all this stuff where she truly believed, oh, I'm gonna see my father, and you sacrificing these little kids so that way you're able to see your father or whatever. I just thought it was just disgusting on her part how she enabled the situation, but she tried to act like I don't know if I want to agree with this, but she's sitting there thinking that she was going to connect. But it's all about mental health. The show was basically about how fear is a motivator for a lot of things, and how he feeds off the fear, and how, on the other hand, with the military, how the captain was using fear and this creature that he encountered as a kid as a way that he feels like he could control everything that was going around. But that creature was like, "Oh no, sir, you cannot control me," and ate him in that episode. And I like James Remar, but when he twisted and turned out to be the snake that he was, I was like, "Oh, if you kill him, I wouldn't feel no ways tied." So now they also said that she's tricked into thinking her dad is still there somewhere in the shadows of that monster, and she wants to liberate him. But the only way to see him and try to liberate him is by creating all these baits and all this pain because she knows that he will show up. And that's what I liked about, which pissed me off about that juke joint sequence, but also why I understood why that happened because that bitch, and this is why I always say, You need to watch them white women. Yeah, she was canoodling with that little girl's father, having an affair and everything. But you also use that whole situation of sending in the tip to the racists so they could go down there and create all this carnage just so that way the creature it could feed off of the evil that was happening in that time, and just so you can get a glimpse of who you thought was your daddy. And it turned out it wasn't once you got to that point. But it would be interesting to see, like in season 2, how they hinted at those things. They gave a teensy bit of the backstory. But now that we know that when season 2 comes, they're going to dive more into that, and more children will probably get eaten under her watch. And who are these group of kids that are around that time that we'll be able to see who are going to bottle him up and put him away until, what we saw happen in season 1. So it'll be interesting how they do all of that. And um, then we get to the rest of the stuff. So now they're in a separate conversation with Entertainment Weekly. It Welcome to DERRY showrunner Jason Fuchs said that the revelation that Marge is Ritchie Tozier's mother ties in with the mystery that Andy has been hinting at, which is why we're telling the story in reverse. They said the seeds of that is sown in the specific moment where it reveals to Marge and to the audience that it knows exactly where the story is going, and which raises questions certainly about where our story is going. Now, as Pennywise continues traveling further back, it's hard to shake the feeling that the monster will eventually find a way to free itself from the fate and live again in the present. What that will mean for the It franchise moving forward remains to be seen, but Warner Brothers Discovery clearly sees the value in Bill Skarsgård's now iconic clown. And look, I'll say for me, I love Tim Curry as Pennywise, but of course that was a different time. That was the 90s. And that was the first time we got to see a visual aspect of seeing Stephen King's book come to life. But y'all cannot sit up here and tell me that Bill Skarsgård eats as Pennywise. Like, to me, he is one of the most iconic actors that's working today. Like, he could literally come in and play a character and just embody that character. Him and his brother Alexander, great actors. First of all, that whole Skarsgård family, um, amazing actors. Stellan, they father. You got Alexander or Askars, Eric Northman over there from what was it? True Blood. And also he was in The Northman. And Bill Skarsgård has been in everything. I still haven't even seen The Crow, so I don't even know if he was good in that. Even though I heard the movie was bad, but I like what he did with this one. And another thing, since when it wasn't just me, or did y'all think that that thing that you see that's lighting up, um, why all of a sudden when people was touching it, it was like Gollum with the ring, like it was giving Lord of the Ring vibes. I'm like, child, y'all about to make this little girl Gollum, like my precious, like she was getting all evil and saying the most meanest things. Like I had that kind of vibe what that was going on, but I like the fact that it was like they were just fighting tooth and nail to get that thing in that in the tree to destroy or put him back in his little cage or whatever the case was, destroy the monster for now until I guess another 27 years, which was what, because it was like 60 something, it was like the 80s, whatever, how they said in the next thing, that's when he wakes up again. But look, this shot right here, this is my favorite scene when Little Rich came out to, his spirit came down to pretty much help his friends get that artifact inside, like, and destroy the creature. How he was running past and gave him the finger. I live for that scene. That would have been like a scene when you're watching in the theater with a packed audience, and you see that scene come on, and the audience starts clapping. Like that, literally, what that would give you. This was like one of my favorite scenes in this whole thing. So here's the thing: what we've come to learn, especially when it comes to the It franchise, this franchise works best when you center it around children. When you try to center it around the adults to pretty much try to do everything, it kind of goes downhill. Hence, why a lot of people always feel like the chapter 2 side of it is always the weakest part, whether it's the book or whether it's the two, you know, halves of it, the miniseries from the 90s and the part 2 that came out in the 2000s or the 2010s, I should say. So yeah, this scene really got me. I loved the show overall. It was a great season. And I didn't like the fact that, Rich sacrificed. Well, I was so sad when Rich sacrificed himself to save Marge. And they was like, I love you. Rich was like, I love you too. And then he slammed inside a little refrigerator and laid on top of it and pretty much died of smoke inhalation. But you want to know something? I'd rather he would have just died from smoke inhalation than getting eaten by that damn clown. So He went out like a gangster. I'll say that. But I liked his character. But then again, like we have to realize none of these kids are coming back for season two. So or maybe they'll find a way to bring these people back in some capacity. I don't know. But if the story's being told in the 30s, it's gonna be a whole new cast of people. But overall, I say this to you all. What did you guys think of this episode? Did you guys get to check out the final episode or episodes of It Welcome to Derry? I'm actually, oh, hold on now. I was about to close everything for a second. I was like, well, I was about to end the show by accident. But did you enjoy what you saw from the show? Is it up there like one of the greatest horror adaptation series, whatever, known under the sun? Look, after this, I will say this. I'm really excited to see what I think it's Jason Fuchs that is going to be the new showrunner over there at Crystal Lake. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what the showrunner of this show, Welcome to Derry, is going to do with the new Crystal Lake series. Because if you could take a show, I mean, you could take an IP or movie, whatever, and be like, why are they making this into a TV show? And you can find a way to really make us want to sit down and really dive into an 8-episode series about these characters that you would never think that you can create something remotely interesting revolving around them besides of what we saw of them in their film form, then I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to it. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Oh yeah, I read that one. Hold on. It was a good show. The night the goat broke me 2 weeks in a row. You said it makes sense as a space god. He doesn't experience time the way humans do. I hope HBO greenlit. Oh, it's definitely no, it's definitely getting a season two. It's getting a season two and a three. They said that the plan was from the beginning, like that all of it is pretty much it's a 3 season type of thing, I guess so far. And the ratings have been through the roof in regards of It Welcome to Derry. So I could definitely see it getting a second season. Now, I just hope Netflix lets them people do what they do over there at HBO. I don't need you interfering. Let them do what they've been doing because HBO's been HBO for as long as I've been alive for a reason. Well, wait a minute. How old is HBO? HBO, I feel like, well, when I became aware of it, it was like the 90s. So HBO has been HBO for as long as it has been. Don't come in with your whatever you plan on doing and ruin what they got going on over there. Let them still do what they do in regards to creating the type of IPs that they create. 1935 was the second season. 1989 is chapter one. 2016 was chapter two. Yeah, Bob Gray. Yeah, that was his name. He said, I wonder how they'll portray it because it doesn't appear as Pennywise until it sees Bob Gray perform in 1935. Well, like they said that, well, you do know, like in season one, we didn't really get to see um it become Pennywise until later on in the season. So it manifested itself as other things. So I'm sure in season two, it'll be the same thing. You won't be seeing Pennywise in there. I know people always want to think about, well, they equate the show with that iconic character. But I love the fact that they've set this thing up as it's so many other things. It's not just the clown. It appeared as and it's like they're telling you why it appears as a clown. So people have to I guess understand that when the show comes around. So yeah, if it's when we get to season two, we're not gonna be y'all have to realize that don't expect to see Pennywise the clown in the first couple of episodes. My whole house erupted at that scene when he flipped him the bird. hmm Home media. You said HBO Origins. Oh, so yeah, it was late 70s. But I don't know if people were really on HBO like that. He was a little kid. I'm sure it would be the old man that freaked the soldier off as a child. But who we talking about? We were talking about I mean, we also know like how it all interlinks because they made an Easter egg about Shawshank. which of course is where they took the girl's father. They took him to Shawshank Prison, so it was like it's all interlinked in that way. And then of course the guy that was the seer, Hanlon, he is from The Shining. We already know how he died. Jack Torrance killed him with an axe. So speaking of which, I'm so pissed because I didn't even know. I totally forgot. I did know that The Shining was going to be shown in IMAX at the AMC's. But then I didn't look to check to see what date it was until a friend of mine posted something about he went to go see it in IMAX and now he says he wants to see it again. I'm like, fuck. I thought it was, I didn't know it was coming out this week. So I've never seen The Shining in the movies because I wasn't even born when the movie, when did that movie come out? Like 80? So I've never seen The Shining in the movies. I wanna have the opportunity to see it. So one of these days, hopefully, if it's still there, I'll be able to check it out before they take it out. I don't know how long it's gonna be there. Pennywise met Remar's character as a kid when he was an oh yeah, yeah. So it was like James Remar, his character, he's like he met him as a kid. And that's when it was the old man that was chasing him through the woods, and then the Native American chick, I forgot her name, the one that helped him out of the woods when she saw that when she screamed when she saw Tango got shot in the damn neck. I was so mad when y'all killed off Tango too. I'm like, damn, they killed him off in the long walk and they killed him off in it. This is two damn Stephen King projects. That actor was a Native American actor, and he died by a bullet in both of them. I know if that was a spoiler alert, I apologize, but yeah, that was like, damn, y'all talking about with bullets in both those damn shows. I actually bought the long walk, but I can't right now. Like it's gonna really take a lot for me to sit down and want to watch that movie again because that movie just put me through it when I saw it in theaters earlier a couple of months ago. All right, y'all. So now let's move on. Hold on a second, because I saw another comment come in. It said, at this point, Tango actor should die in a third movie and make it his shtick. Dang. I was just like, look at that, all that long, luxurious hair. And he cute too. Okay, so now let's get back into the show. And let's talk about Funk Master Flex. See, I already know that Funk Flex is already over there flexing his muscle at Hot 97 as the new morning show host after he was put in a slot that was formerly held by Ebro in the morning. Now, I did watch Ebro over there on his YouTube channel because, after they done got their pink slip, um Ebro and Rosenberg already started posting videos or whatever. They had they did an episode where they just, get up in there and talk. They were talking about what had went down and everything with Hot 97 and the Drake mess and how Drake sent a DM to Ebro talking about die slowly and all other stuff. Yeah, this is the stuff that's coming out now. And Ebro kind of gave like a soft little clap. He didn't go in and say nothing crazy. But now, why how you out here threatening? And Rosenberg said you need to sue. And he said that because Drake running around here suing everybody whenever they say something or do something that he don't like. So now he's like, sue back. So yeah, I did watch the episode and it was whatever. And I just feel like what's happening now with a lot with radio and all this other stuff, people are not consuming radio the way they used to. We've all moved on to like iHeart and Spotify and Apple Music and everything. And look, Ebro has Apple TV. He has Apple Music. He's been working over there with Apple for like a decade. So he's been successful in that front. But he said that the reason why, he stuck with Hot 97 and everything that was going on, even though the people that bought the company is trash. That's what Rosenberg said. It was just like the reason why that he stuck with it is because he thought he was doing his due diligence for the community. Like, this is me trying to stand up and really push for, political activism and all this other stuff within the black community. So that's what he was doing over there at Hot 97. But you got to realize when you got these people over here running things, that's not what they want. Like you were saying, that they want their money. They don't want to piss off these racist people in power. So they're gonna cut to a certain situation. And word on the curb is they was losing a lot of money over there at Hot 97. Hence why Ebro in the morning had to go. The reason why Laura Stiles wasn't there because she was traveling. She's on vacation with her kids, so with the family. So she was on the plane, and she did call in for a second. But it's like, yeah, times are changing. To be honest, the last time I watched any or listened to like old school radio, was when Wendy Williams was on there. And when she jumped ship to go start her talk show, Chris jumped ship and stopped listening to the regular radio. So with all that being said, Frontmaster Flex already got himself, put his foot in his mouth because apparently he can't tell DaBaby from Birdman. And quite frankly, neither one of them look like DaBaby looked like a butch queen. And it's no shade. DaBaby's cute. As for Toni Braxton's husband, who she don't want to be talking about, remember how we referenced Lord of the Rings earlier? Well, Merman looked like one of the orcs. But if you like it, I love it, niece. Or auntie, because you're older than me. I should say auntie. So now, there was a whole thing to set all that up. There was a situation that came out because Kimora Lee and her ex-husband are going at it on social media. Kimora basically said that men are weird, that all her exes, I guess, ain't shit. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what she was giving. And how, she said a whole bunch of other stuff. Russell decided to clap back and said, I was giving you $50,000 a month. You stole my stock and all this other stuff. So he was saying that she was basically out here, she stole a lot of his money. Then she went and clapped back and said, well, why are you hiding out in another country? You need to come here and face them women you allegedly SA'd. So there was a lot of that going back and forth. I'm paraphrasing on all of it, but that's just giving you the gist of what's going on. So then Funkmaster Flex decided to get all sassy with it and get on social media. He trying to do what us be doing, us gay homosexual men's, the ones the rest of us out here be doing the roast and the gags and the gossip. So now he got to prove himself over there because you already know they on thin ice over there at Hot 97, or as we used to call it, Shot 97, and the ratings is kind of in the toilet. People are not really feeling Hot 97 like that. So now Flex got to come out here and make a name for himself, even though he's been in the game for a long time. But he got to prove himself to be like he's worthy of having that slot. So he got to start with the mess. And now with all of that going on, he's already pissing people off, including Kimora and DaBaby. So recently, Funk Flex temporarily took over Hot 97's morning slot after the station canceled Ebro in the morning. Unfortunately, however, things got off to a rocky start. On his first day, he discussed Kimora Lee Simmons' latest spat with her ex, Russell. He called DaBaby fat founder a bird and accused her of sleeping with Baby. This resulted in some confusion, as many listeners assumed he was referring to DaBaby, as seen in a post by Glock Topics on Twitter. Eventually, he ended up clarifying that he meant Birdman, who also goes by Baby. Oh, so if I would have heard the conversation, I would have been like, yeah, he's talking about Baby, because I do remember that Birdman was called Baby. Now, if he would have said DaBaby, I think he would have meant DaBaby. But yeah, Birdman is referred to as Baby, but you got to realize, I guess, Funk is old school, kind of like Wendy Williams always called Diddy Puffy. Like, there are people out here who still call him by his old school name. They call him Puffy. So people are like, who? Like, if you're well versed upon the stuff, people are not going to know who you're referring to. So yeah, DaBaby, Baby, it is an honest mistake, but you got to realize you got to be Pacific. Yes, I intentionally said it that way when it comes to these things, because people will take something that you say and run with it. But I do have that clip because I love a clip, flip, and then a receipt. So we're gonna play with Funk said and come back and talk. Please hold.
Bird. She's a bird. She's a bird. Whoa. She's a bird. Continue the story. Go ahead.
Now, Flex, you can't say that.
What's her name?
Miss Kimora Lee Simmons.
Russell's own wife, right?
Back to the Fab Lane, but back to the Fab Lane.
DaBaby was beating that. Go ahead. Finish the story. Finish the story.
Say a word.
Finish the story.
That is not nice.
New York.
Now, hold on. You did say, now that I'm listening to it, you said DaBaby. Oh, let's go back on it. You said DaBaby. You didn't say baby. You said DaBaby. So if you said DaBaby, I'm honestly going to think DaBaby.
Back to the Fab Lane.
DaBaby was beating that. Go ahead. Finish
DaBaby was beating that. So where in there was you talking about Baby as in Birdman, sir? And what's the timeline? Because Tony Michelle Braxton, who she don't even like talk about her personal life, she apparently that's her husband. So what's the timeline on when Kimora was opening her legs to an alleged married man? Born definitely knows how to pick them. Like she be out here doing whatever she got to do to keep some of them coins coming in. Let me see what this other clip is. Oh, he said, wait, I'm talking about Birdman, baby, not DaBaby. Well, you should have pretty much said that. So yeah, that's from the Shade Room. And so now that he clarified that, DaBaby and Kimora jumped on the line and said that she has never met DaBaby. So what you talking about, Willis? And DaBaby was quick to address the ordeal, making it clear that he never had a sexual relationship with Kimora. He said that ish is 1,000% false. That ish ain't true. He declared in a video. I don't know what the hell you got going on or what made you feel comfortable enough throwing my name out there so loosely like that. I'm looking forward to you clearing that up, Flex. Well, he cleared it up, but this is why if a lot of you men, especially if you heterosexual, even though you sound like a bitch when you open your mouth, but if you male heterosexual presenting men, because I don't know how you get down and realize me, you could be, for all I know, you could be getting down like how DJ Mr. C used to get down back in the day, if you know what I'm saying, and I think you do. But if you're gonna get in this space when you're gonna be up here trying to channel Wendy Williams with the gossip, y'all got to get y'all facts straight. Y'all got to know what the hell y'all talking about. Don't be trying to come up in here and do the whole massage. She's a bird. She's a bird. She's a bird. Like, if you're going to be doing all of that, sir, at least know what the hell you talking about before you come out here and say something. So now you got egg on your face. You looking dumb. And now, Hot 97, like, damn, did we make the right decision by having him move into the Ebro in the morning spot? Quite frankly, I've been saying this for the longest. I definitely feel like old school radio. I don't even know what to call it. Do we call it legacy radio, media, linear radio? Um, Legacy media, like legacy radio, is a dying situation. People are not consuming old school radio like Hot 97 and all these other channels the way we used to. I don't listen. I wouldn't even know where to find any of the stuff on my. I don't even know. I couldn't even find a regular radio if you put one in front of me. But then if you put it in front of me, I probably could be able to figure out how to turn the shit on and stuff. But when you so used to how we consume music now, which is we create our own playlists, we listen to music on our phones, or if you're into the whole podcast, whatever case, you go on YouTube, or you have Spotify, or you have Apple Music. And that's usually how we consume things. Like, who's really listening to the radio? Like, they're calling in for a song or whatever. It's like we listen to music, we like it instant. She also, sorry, I should read the rest of what Kimora had to say, by the way. She said, LOL, what? You're being sassy AF, Flex. Respectfully, I've never met DaBaby in my life, but you, on the other hand, side-eye emoji. Complex, of course, they said he won't be filling the morning slot for long, despite rumors. This week, he announced that it was just a one-time thing, though he did end up filling in again today. He said, I'm only doing one day. Easy. So we are clear. I'm only covering tomorrow, only one day. Old Man Ebro, Rosenberg Radio, Laura Styles. Wait, those are all acts. You guys have been so amazing in the hardest city in the world. Ebro, you was my boss for years. Your passion for the music and dedication. Yeah, because the people always forget that Ebro was somebody who was a boss at Hot 97 before he got in the personality space. He was kind of like the Andy Cohen of hip hop. Before, because remember, Andy Cohen was a boss at one point before he wanted to become a personality. And sometimes people are best off in that space where it's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm a passionate and I did everything behind the scenes, but I got a mouth. I got a lot to say. And the good thing is, I like Ebro. I like what he has to say over there. Was I watching Ebro in the morning like that? No. I mean, quite frankly, I don't even watch The Breakfast Club either. But if there was something that came on my timeline where he was talking about something via any pop culture stuff, it was about Nicki Minaj, or it was about Drake, or anything that was going on currently that I thought was interesting, or his congratulations, you played yourself, I would sit up there and I would watch it. Or if he had on certain political figures, like when he had that interview, that infamous interview with Andrew Cuomo, where Andrew got mad and hung up the phone. I would watch those too. But as far as like a show, I'm just gonna check out a couple of his episodes on YouTube and see what it's given, because I always want to see how personalities thrive once the leash is taken off. And by the leash, I'm talking about when you no longer working at these corporations. Like, say, if somebody who used to work at CNN or MSNBC or MS Now, whatever you want to call it, and they don't no longer have a job working for them over there, and they decide to go independent and create their own channel on YouTube. I always want to see how they come across once the shackles are taken off. Same thing with Hot 97. Now that you're no longer part of Hot 97, if you was a part of 105.1 or 1035 KT or BLS or any one of the other New York City conglomerates, because it is definitely hard to make it through the media space in New York City. As someone who lives here, it is literally the concrete jungle for a reason. So, so far they're doing all right. I haven't watched the newest episode yet, but I've been checking out Ebro in the morning. And look, it'll be interesting to see who they getting over there to take over the spot, if they'll be interesting. But like I said, radio is dying. Flex, like I said before, if you're gonna come up in here and try to run in this space that's going on over here, you trying to do what we do, at least have your stuff together, have your stories together, and know what the hell you're talking about, because you could have got a lawsuit over that. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Funk Master Flex out here acting like a damn bird. Damn, I forgot. I should have read some of the comments, because they was eating him up over there and what is it called? Glock Topics. Yeah, somebody said that's what he get for gospel. SMH Chatty Ninja. Another person said, LOL, why didn't he say Stunner or Birdman? And then another person said, why say anything? Yuck. Just a chatty man. First of all, isn't chatty man a gay slur or something or another? Because we got Alan Carr chatty man. Why Flex snapping like that? Where's the receipts? Another person said, I was definitely confused. I'm like, he must mean baby number one stunner, baby Miss Gladys baby. Another person said he ain't want the fade. Another person said, no offense, but he's one of the worst and most irresponsible people I've ever seen give interviews. I don't know how he's considered a replacement. Just mismeant. Well, because they really have the reality is they have no real big personalities over there at Hot 97. All the personalities, well, they're not developing personalities. And a lot of y'all are long in the tooth. So, and when corporations jumping in and trying to keep people on a leash and not allowing people to really come out here and flourish with the personality, yeah, it's gonna be slim picking. So the best they can come up with is Fun Master, especially after I just heard they not only did they get rid of Ebro in the morning, but Miss Jones is out of a job too. And wasn't Ed Lover on there at one point? They're getting rid of all of them. And I live for Miss Jones. Miss Jones come from the same school as Wendy Williams. So y'all sit up here getting rid of all the interesting personalities. Yeah, no wonder y'all channel was dry as hell, drier than Ben Shapiro's wife. So let's say all this to say, whatever your thoughts are in this matter, let me know in the comments down below. I got distracted because I don't know. I don't know why. I was like, why is Brave New World trending over there on social media? And then now they're showing Silver Surfer said this sequence alone is better than any Superman or Brave New World visual effects. And they basically showing Shalabal surfing on, surfing in that sequence. I was like, yeah, that scene actually was pretty good. Then they took my Marvel intentionally sabotaged the making and release of Brave New World so they could finally shove Steve back as Captain America into our faces, but I just can't prove it. Child, they going in. Okay, I'll have to check out these other posts later, but I got a show to do. Anyway, what the people saying? Felix says we have access to pretty much anything we want nowadays. The days of the box and requesting songs is long. Yeah, nobody's calling in to request a damn song. Where they do that at? This ain't Video Music Box. Remember that show? All right, y'all. So now, speaking of the Breakfast Club, I guess let's talk about them. So, with them firing them people over there at Hot 97, one of my friends did say, oh, yeah, but the Breakfast Club is still around. Because regardless of how you feel about Charlemagne and them over there, please get rid of Jess. He's not hilarious. But regardless of how you feel about Charlemagne and them over there, the show, the numbers don't lie. People love the show. they do go viral at times, depending on what any of them say. Charlamagne just gave Trump donkey of the day over what he just said regarding Rob Reiner. So he's not going to. So look, the show's not going to. Although people are speculating because they said, "Wait a minute, Charlamagne did not renew his contract over there at what is he on? Is it Sirius XM or whatever the case is? Oh no, it's iHeart. Shout out to iHeart because iHeart was at the Garden the other day when I was working the Jingle Ball type situation. So yeah, so I guess we can give a congratulations not only to Charlamagne the God and them over there at the Breakfast Club, but also Chelsea Handler and a couple of others, because Netflix has picked up their podcasts over on their streaming service. So yeah, they're doing a podcast deal with HeartMedia, and so the Breakfast Club is going to be over there. And Chelsea Handler has a weekly podcast, which I had no idea, but apparently you can watch it on Netflix. So the iconic talk show The Breakfast Club will begin streaming on Netflix in 2026 after iHeartMedia announced a partnership with the platform on Tuesday. The deal will see a total of 15 iHeart podcasts added to Netflix. Others include Dear Chelsea, Bobby Bones Presents, The Bobby Cast, My Favorite Murder, and more. Charlamagne reacted to the news in a post on IG, writing 9 years he said 9 year that equals completion, snake year that equals shedding. Let's try this new skin. We truly thank God for it all. And so, yeah, I have that Instagram situation as well that I could show y'all. So they have them there. You really need to place this bitch with Lauren LaRosa. So the people in the comments was like, congratulations, brother. That's Tesla Figaro. I like Tesla because she be out here, she be telling it when it comes to the politics. Bakari Sellers said, they told me yesterday you were about to be unemployed. And you know what? A lot of people were saying that because they was thinking about what was going over there at Hot 97, that they might be cleaning the house over at the Breakfast Club. But now that he put this out, and I think that's probably why they dropped this news, because of everything that's happening over there at Hot 97 and people losing their jobs, probably because they losing a lot of money. Charlamagne was like, okay, well, that may be happening over there. And now these rumors start to swirl that stuff might be happening over here. So now I'm going to post this so y'all know what we got going on over here. So now Bob Pittman, CEO of iHeartMedia, added in a press release obtained by The Hollywood Reporter, audio podcasting has been the fastest growing medium over the last 20 years, and now we're thrilled to expand that experience with an exciting new category, video podcasts. Netflix has a leading video-first service, and this partnership perfectly contemplates our strong audio foundation. Working with Netflix, an important leader in entertainment, gives fans one more way to connect with the personalities they love and open the door to new audiences, including viewers discovering these shows for the first time. And I have to say this, like, yeah, audio podcasts have been doing well for the past 2 decades. I do agree that the future is video podcasting. Hence why I tend to do video podcasting more than audio. Because once upon a time, when I used to do my show over there on, oh my God, I forgot the damn all digital radio. When I used to do my show on all digital radio, that was audio only. With a 2-hour show every Saturday, where I would do the celebrity news and gossip and play like some songs and stuff. So that's basically what I was doing with that. Then I was like, you know what? I considered trying to transfer or like convert all of this to audio, but I was like, it's too much damn work. I'd rather just focus on the video space because I feel like people are more visual than anything. So I was like, let me just stick with that. And good to know that it's paying off. So they said, with this partnership, we're incredibly excited to offer our members such unmatched variety and to deliver a highly entertaining podcast featuring some of the world's most dynamic personalities. This is what Lauren Smith, Netflix's Vice President of Content Licensing and Programming Strategy. And so with this deal, they said back in October, Netflix announced a similar partnership with Spotify Studios and The Ringer. The deal confirmed the addition of several other podcasts to the streaming site, including the Bill Simmons Podcast, The Zach Lowe Show, The McKay Show, and The Rewatchables. Why did I think they was going to say The Zach Lowe Show? I thought it was going to say Zane Lowe. I'm like, Zane Lowe was going over there to Netflix? Now, before Tuesday's announcement, Hot 97, as you already know, made headlines for canceling another iconic morning talk show. They shut down Ebro in the Morning after they've been on the air since 2012. And so, look, as Ebro says, look for them on YouTube because they got things going over there. Who knows? Maybe he'll find a way to partner with Apple Music or whatever the case is, since he got a deal over there. But yeah, everybody in the comments was sitting there saying they thought that they were gonna get rid they were gonna cancel the Breakfast Club or get rid of Charlamagne wasn't coming back. Because some people said that it says the Breakfast Club, but Charlamagne contract still isn't renewed. So who knows what's gonna happen with that. And here goes the articles. Wait, did I? Oh yeah, I still do have it up. So here's all the articles that we have. And yeah, now it seems like people are gonna be pissed off about this because they're gonna be like, here Netflix go just eating everything up. Well, look, if Netflix is actually having the cojones to revolutionize the future of creativity where they're trying to incorporate so many other things into what they do, is like, oh, so we're not just gonna put movies and TV shows up on here. Now we want to get into the podcasting space and give personalities the opportunity. Netflix, as I was saying before, they're competing with YouTube. I feel like their biggest competition is YouTube. Y'all sitting out here thinking it's all these studios and this, that, it's Paramount and it's well, I can't say Warner Brothers because they've acquired it. It's Disney. It's all this. No, I think their biggest competition is YouTube because they want to come for YouTube's neck. YouTube is the number one platform where all kinds of things are on there, including like me doing my show. And I hope to get big to a place big enough where I can get these type of deals where I can end up doing something for a network. But then again, if I have to water down myself, I might want to stay where I'm at. Because I got to be me all day, every day, Chad. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What you guys think of this story? So let me know your overall thoughts in the comments down below. I recently stopped watching The Breakfast Club while eating my breakfast. I stopped watching YouTube videos whenever I eat food. Why do they make you feel grossed out? Nicki Minaj made the worst kind of RIAA history. Her second feat, Fifi, was officially demoted from 8 times platinum, 5 times platinum. They're finding out she over-certified. Child. It's number one because it was the first streaming service. Well, things are going to change. Nicki Minaj loves flooding her feed with how much her singles and things of that, and how much, a lot of her songs and things have sold 10, 15, 11, 8, 4 years ago. But I'm like, sis, we're in a time of what have you done for me lately? Nobody gives a damn except the people in your cult, how many things that you sold over and over and over and over and over again. We're talking about now. Like, if you were to come out with an album tomorrow, how well would your shit do on the charts, especially with all this crap that you've been saying as of late? And I'm still baffled as to the fact of all the things that you could go after Gavin Newsom on, the one thing you decided to pick is his comments about trans kids. And the amount of mental gymnastics people were twisting themselves, the pretzel that people were twisting themselves in, trying to justify what she said about the trans kids in the comments, when I was like, why is all of a sudden I'm getting this tag on me and Armand Wiggins and all those? I'm like, what's going on? Then I saw that he reposted the story that I did on Nikki. And then, like I said yesterday, he used it in his show. I should have dropped in the comments. Thank you for using the article as a reference. Should have said that because I hate when people use things and don't give credit. But if you pay attention, you literally see my name, Chris Avalon, at the top. So, but you see the headline. But anyway, not to toot my own horn, but let's get back into some gossip. And let's talk about Trey Songz, because Trey Songz, Tremaine, goddammit, can't seem to keep yourself out of trouble. So yeah, so now Tremaine clearly loves to keep himself, seeing himself in handcuffs, because he was just seen getting arrested over the weekend for putting pause on a nightclub. I think a nightclub worker, because the worker basically told him the club is closing. Because we close a lot of our establishments in New York. We close at 4 a.m. Some places, one of the things, because here's the thing, I remember when I moved to LA and I heard that y'all closed at 2. I'm like, 2 o'clock? Why so early? But you don't realize how long it feels when you're on the West Coast versus the East Coast. East Coast, everything seems to go by fast. The day feels much longer when you're on the West Coast. So by the time 2 o'clock in the morning comes around, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go home. I don't want to stay out this late. So I definitely been like, okay, 2 o'clock seems real legit when it comes to things closing in LA. Although they do have the after parties and things of that nature. So if that's what you want to go to, then you can go to that. And I'm sure there have been plenty in New York City of after parties Trey could have taken his ass to, but he decided to go and allegedly put pause on somebody, an employee, because they told him, so you got to go. So New York City prosecutors accused R&B artist Trey Songz of allegedly being involved in 2 different altercations at Manhattan night spots this month, according to court documents. He was charged with 1 count of felony criminal mischief following an incident on Sunday at 206 East 34th Street, site of the Mirror Mediterranean and Hookah Lounge at 4 in the morning, according to a criminal complaint for the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. The 41-year-old artist, born Tremaine Neverson, allegedly did more than $1,500 of damage to various restaurant property, including hookahs, DJ equipment, and so I'd have been tight because first of all, you damaging my DJ equipment. DJ equipment is not cheap. If you want to get you one of them Pioneer turntable type shit, which I definitely want to get one of those because I want to learn how to DJ. It's always been something I've wanted to do. Them shits is over $2,000. So I can only imagine, like, you damaging property, but then they gonna look at him like, oh no, you gonna pay for this, sir. And hookahs, once upon a time, I used to smoke hookahs, not no more, but I realized that those are worse than like cigarettes and how that and vaping. I used to do all of that, not no more. Once I heard all the tea. And then I heard a story that what's his name? Matt Rogers' boyfriend recently was hospitalized because he had a situation that went on with smoking of like he was vaping and it caused like a respiratory type of situation. So I don't mess with those no more. People get so addicted to those things. You don't realize later on like how dangerous smoking those things are. And they say that that's literally like smoking maybe taking a puff of that is like literally smoking a whole pack of cigarettes. That's how bad it is. So in one sitting. So Trey was confronted by individuals who instigated a confrontation and attempted to surround him. His security intervened and protected him and contained the situation, and an altercation occurred in the ensuing confusion. His attorney, Mitchell Schuster, said in a statement, public figures are often treated as targets for investigation in pursuit of headlines or financial gain. We are confident the facts will speak for themselves. And you want to know something? The one thing about Trey Songz, he be getting in so much trouble, right? But he always slithers his way out of it. He's like the Donald Trump of the R&B community, where it's just like nothing touches him in these situations. And who knows? Maybe this is actually what happened. So the damage and everything probably was happening because, and there was a fight that broke out, whatever the case is. But they didn't mention anything about a fight. All they said was that he was told to leave, and he punched an employee in the face. But if it was 2 separate incidences, there could have been a situation because in New York there will be people out here, especially you breeders. Y'all will find a way to try to test somebody. So if you see somebody that looks like Trey Songz, who is prominent in the R&B community, he doesn't have like those big hits like a Chris Brown or something or another. But for the most part, he has a legitimate bunch of hot songs. But you've been caught up in getting in more trouble than actually taking time to get in the studio and release music. Kind of wish you would focus on that more instead of getting in trouble. But a lot of times, yeah, you will see celebrities go out to these places. They want to be amongst the people or whatever the case is. And then you get somebody who gets jealous because they see some celebrity or whatever hanging out, smoking hookahs, got all the girls in a VIP section. And dudes be getting mad and they want to step to you. And then Trey is like, yeah, I may be a pretty boy, but I ain't no pussy ass. Oh, I ain't no punk. So now you stepping up to him and a fight's gonna break out or something crazy gonna happen. So Then they said, then back on December 4th at 1604 Broadway, the artist allegedly struck another man in the face with a closed fist, causing swelling and substantial pain. So this is a separate incident. The Broadway location appears to match with at least 3 bars sharing the same address. The defendant allegedly struck, shoved, and kicked and otherwise subjected another person to physical contact. According to prosecutors, he's been charged with a host of misdemeanors in the 2 incidences, including 2 counts of third-degree assault, attempted assault, and aggravated harassment. Trey Songz was charged in connection with an incident that occurred last week. His attorney Schuster said he is cooperating fully and looks forward to the facts coming to light. The artist was arraigned on Sunday on his own recognizance. These were not the first run-ins Neverson has had with authorities. Now, he allegedly scuffled with police during a Kansas City Chiefs Buffalo Bills playoff game in January 2021. Sidebar, let's give a shout out and let's play the world's smallest violin for Kansas City Chiefs. Unfortunately, they're out. They're not going to be able to play in the they're not making it to the Super Bowl. I saw that Travis Kelce was being a little emotional over it because Patrick Mahomes is injured. So he's out for the season. So yeah, there's that. I just wanted to bring that up in case, because Kansas City Chiefs was mentioned. So I decided to bring that up. Okay. Then where was I? Okay, as I said, back in early 2017, the artist allegedly got into it with police and as he was kicked out of a casino near Washington, D.C. The musician allegedly trashed the Joe Louis Arena stage in 2016 after his microphone was shut off during the show. He pleaded guilty to misdemeanor disturbing the peace and was sentenced to probation. And I was wondering because I was like, wait, my company, one of my bosses who works at City Field is acquiring a casino and they're starting to build one and I could possibly get a job. And I'm like, well, what would I be possibly doing up there? I guess they would need, well, if they build, like they said, they have an arena because they do build stages and arenas and they have shows and stuff in casinos. Who knows? I might be working in there doing live entertainment events and stuff. So now, enough about me. Let's get back to Trey Songz. So you know what? I like Trey. I even like when he was in that horrible ass Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. But for the most part, sir, get it together. I don't know what's going on with you in your personal life, why you always getting caught up in some trouble or whatever the case is. But you really need to get it together because you're just a mess. And the fact of the matter is that what do they call it? A lot of your personal life is overshadowing your music, your career. Like people know you more for these antics of getting arrested than the songs that you have that the ladies like dropping their panties for and throwing it on the stage while you singing. Your oohs and your ahs and your crooning and all that good stuff. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Trey Songz can't seem to keep himself out of trouble because he found himself getting caught up in 2 separate incidences at 2 different nightclubs in New York in the same month. So whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. All right, you said, hold on. You said eating food while looking at a screen is only for movie theaters, not YouTube. I can't even eat food while watching that one show because it distracts me too much and I'm always rewinding. Well, usually when I'm watching YouTube videos, if I'm on my iPad or if I'm watching on my phone, I usually have it on as background while I'm doing stuff. So like if I'm in the kitchen and I'm making me something to eat, or if I'm cooking or whatever the case is, or if I'm just doing anything, I'll have it playing and I'm listening. I don't always have to sit and watch everything. And I always expect that with me too. Like I always feel like at times, I mean, if y'all actually sit and watching the whole show with me on here like this, that's awesome. But also I expect that people who watch this show has got it on and they got the audio on in the background. They're listening to what I'm saying. But then when you want the visual effects, you want to come in and glance at the screen while you're doing whatever. But have at it. But yeah, for the most part, it's like I'll have it on and I'll have it up loud enough so it's like I hear it, so and I can concentrate that way. But I'm not, or maybe I do. I think I have eaten while I've watched stuff on YouTube. But if it is, I'm more or less listening to it than watching it because I'm focusing on eating my food. Kayla says recently made her yeah, I just saw that pop up on YouTube earlier when I was because when I follow a lot of these podcasts, YouTube first of all, they sent me my YouTube year in review. I did post I posted it on my Facebook page. I was like, and what did it say? Because I was like, yeah, they showed a bunch of stuff. I forget what it is. But yeah, if you go on my Facebook page, Chris.Avalon.94. Well, first of all, if you go in the description on this on this page, all of my links is down there. I know I don't be promoting that enough or whatever, but yeah, I have all my links and stuff in the description. If you are watching this on YouTube, if you want to follow me on any of my social media platforms. But my 2025 recap, they was like media savvy, you always on top of what's happening in entertainment and the latest trends. So it was like show reactions, pop culture discussions, current events. Enthusiastic, you love to share your opinions and feelings about the things you watch. So it was like concert reactions, show analysis, and artist commentary. And then it was like the connector, 14% of people, you're drawn to content that sparks conversation and builds community. You've watched pop culture discussions and show reactions showing you love to connect with others. Like I said, most compatible with the Sunshiner, the Challenger. So I do agree with that because that's kind of like what I always feel like I'm hoping I'm bringing with this show is that I am drawn to content that sparks conversation and builds community, which is why I do the show that I do. And then, of course, you'll get, the people that come in and want to start their mess and I got to cuss their ass out, but that's the name of the game. They said early 2025, watch music reactions. You dove into music reactions, analyzing performances and sharing your thoughts on different artists. Channels I watched. Oh, they know I'll be watching Steven and Sarah. First of all, Steven is cute. That's why I'll be watching him. I like these boys with tattoos and stuff. But anyway, so Steven and Sarah, and I like his reaction videos, particularly when he does Madonna videos. And then he did a couple on Jade's new album. So I do like watching him. And then he said Sohum reactions and of course the MLVC, the Madonna podcast. Well, I do love that show. Your YouTube award, it said most likely to be the life of the party with the best pop culture trivia. Well, first of all, you would be correct, YouTube. So shout out to y'all. It's like all these damn windows is open. You're gonna close them because I'm like all these damn windows is open because it's like I got I'm going to be referencing a lot of stuff that I have later on in the show. Like, do I need this open? I don't think I need that open. I think I have everything I need here. Okay, let's move on. But yeah, I need to watch that one because it's funny how like I saw it up. I immediately clicked it. I was gonna send it to the group chat and already Robert posted it there. I said, well, goddamn. So I didn't post the Kayla Says thing because it was already up. Mick Foley has left the WWE over business relationship with Donald Trump and Republicans. He said the company changed into a racist and homophobic company because it seemed popular with. But he's saying that the WWE is racist, homophobic. Quiet as it's kept. A lot of the boys that like wrestling are homosexual. Yeah, it is popular with a small percentage. But the funny enough, WWE might play into that stuff, but the fandom don't seem to be very much Trump supporters. That's what they want to. It says super late here, but I was over Avatar in the second film when they cast Kate Winslet as the leader of the Water Tribe, which represented indigenous people who live near the. That's another thing too. When y'all start whitewashing people and making indigenous characters played by white folks, or it's like that irritates me. So I agree with that. But look, it don't matter. I know. Well, look, y'all say the super late. It don't matter. I mean, if you catching up, whenever you catch up and you watch a clip, and you want to post your comments at whatever time. I'm not gonna hold y'all on that. Word is this was Travis' final season and he bombed, but people said he should have retired. Absolutely, he should have retired on a high last year and then move into podcasting or whatever it is that you want to be doing, getting a lot of your endorsements because there's more money in that than walking around having like a bad season and you getting an injury or whatever the case is. So I agree. He should have retired last year. Go out on a high, get married to your lady, and do the things that you want to do. Be Mr. Swift. I mean, that's what I would do. Well, I watch YouTube videos on my TV a lot as well. But if I'm moving around or whatever, it's usually on my phone or because I obviously I don't have a TV in my kitchen. So um when I'm cooking or I'm doing stuff, I like to have it on the tablet. So it's like big enough for me to watch, or I put it on my phone. But if I'm working, I mean, if I'm working on like topics or whatever the case is, then it's like, yeah, I'm laying in the bed. I got the TV on and I'm watching a lot of YouTube videos. So I'm doing that. I watch YouTube primarily on my TV more than most platforms. Yeah, and funny enough, the thing is, it looks good on a TV. So, um, you're going to see all the bells and whistles and stuff. So I prefer to watch a lot of YouTube on my television as well. All right. Now let's get into some more celebrity news. And let's talk about Donta. I know y'all just love when I say that because now I got a lot of people saying Madonta. I had somebody the other day write Madonta. I was cackling. I was like, look at me starting a situation. But anyway, I love influencing the children. Popping the corner, feeding the children. But anyway, so Madonta went and recently appeared at her son Rocco's art exhibit. And who else was there? Rocco Rich. I mean, not besides Rocco Ritchie, Guy Ritchie, which had everybody gagging because they're like, wait a minute now. So you got Guy coming up here, but I'm like, duh, that's his father. So why wouldn't he be there? But I think because we've always seen a lot of the art exhibits and things, we've always seen Madonna there with all the kids and that sort of thing. But you've never seen Guy show up. But now everybody's making this a big deal because you know the history that they had. We always thought Madonna was going to be a trad wife after she went and got married to Guy Ritchie, but then she snapped out of it and realized, I got to be me because the demure mindful. I'm sure that is you at sometimes, but you're also an artist and you're a creator and you have to be able to be your creative self. So, and for some people saying that God wasn't allowing her to do that, I think he struggled with being Mr. Madonna. And, over the years that they were married, because she was and still is one of the biggest stars, pop stars on the planet. She's an icon. So, anybody being married to her, that's a lot that you got to wrestle with, especially when you have your own thing going. And Guy is a filmmaker. Yeah, the movies don't be doing blockbuster numbers like, say, a James Cameron or something or another, but he makes movies. So the extra struggle posed alongside Rocco, who's 25, on Friday, December 12th, in front of his art for his Talk is Cheap exhibition in London. And if you ever heard Rocco talk, he has a bit of a British accent too. He's not putting it on like his mother. I think it's because he flew back and forth and lived a lot with his father. He's gotten a bit of that accent. He kind of reminds me of like the Osbournes when they talk. Like they have an American slight, like it's like half American accent, half British accent. Like a little time you hear that little come out, or I don't want to compare them to them because these people are horrible human beings. But Andrew Tate, like whenever you listen to Andrew Tate, like he sounds like he's American, but then there's parts of when he talks, you hear that British accent come up in there or English accent. So yeah, he posted the photo on Instagram on Monday. That's when I saw it and I gagged. I was like, wait a minute now. What's happening? They putting on a united front. So yeah, he thanked both his parents for coming together and support. Come together in every nation. I'm going to be freaking doing reference to Madonna's music probably throughout this whole article. So coming together in support of him in an emotional caption. So hold on, because what I'll do y'all one better. Let's pull up his Instagram so that way y'all can see it. So he said, it's obvious why some people might hold judgment against me. I don't blame them. However, I'm proud to be who I am, but I'm even prouder to have both of my parents together in one room supporting me. The work should speak for itself. That's why the show was called Talk is Cheap. And everybody, when they was looking at this picture, they was like, God damn, Rocco looks so much like his father. Yes, he does. He is a splitting image of Guy. But here's the thing, and this is why I feel bad for a lot of these kids, especially the term is Nepo baby. If your child has talent, what's wrong with nurturing that and giving them all the tools so that way you know what? I'm going to put them in this thing. I'm going to let them do what they do and give them the ability to do what they want to do so they can showcase their talent. People get mad. Well, when I was coming up in the world, I had to do this and I had to do that. That's mostly Black people that do that because there was a story that came out the other day from Married to Medicine. Simone was up there getting all pissed off because her son ran up a $60,000 credit card bill. And he talking about going to law school and those other stuff, and she want him to struggle. She's like, well, you're going to have to pay for it. You're going to have to do this, that, and the other. My thing is this. If I'm in a position of privilege where, well, I'll say like Madonna, if I was in a Madonna type situation, if I had her money, if I had her dollars, if you want to sound like, to paraphrase Pepper LaBeija, if I had her dollars, what I would do is I don't want my kids to struggle like I had to struggle to get where I am today. If you want to sit and you feel like you want to be the next Basquiat, if you feel like you want to be the next, Beethoven or whatever it is that you want to be, I'll nurture that. I'll put you through all the schooling and everything that you need to do to nurture your talent. And when you're at a place, because people seem to forget, Rocco Ritchie didn't come out as Rocco Ritchie when he was an artist. His name was Red, Rhed. So he was kind of incognito when he came out with his art in the beginning until the sleuth started sleuthing and it was revealed who Red was. Then once it came out, all of a sudden people started the Nepo baby stuff. So this is why he feels the way he feels. It's like, look, I'll let the stuff speak for myself. That's why the show is called Talk is Cheap. And the art looks pretty good. And I'm sure people go out here and they buy it. Probably because also it's Madonna's son. So people can go around and also have bragging rights and say, oh, look, I bought a painting from Madonna's son. There's significance to that. So yeah, of course there's biases, but here's the thing. Whether it's a Rocco Ritchie or it's some dude that owns a jewelry shop and gives their kid a job, there's nepotism in every aspect of what we do in life. How many regular people out here have gotten jobs because of a connection from a relative or a friend or things of that nature? We've all had situations happen where we've used connections again. Like when I've had many a jobs where I've gotten through connections, but there's jobs that I've gotten where I went in and interviewed and got it based off my bubbling personality. And there have been times where I've gone in for jobs because I was recommended by a person, but my personality and everything and my resume spoke for itself. So there was a little bit of that. But of course, because of, so-and-so, yeah, I'm gonna give you the job or whatever cases. So there's been situations where, yeah, we've all taken advantage of that. So, but because people look at it from a celebrity standpoint, it's different. But I actually like the idea that Danta and Guy were willing to come into a room together and put on a united front because, Madonna and Guy, who are 10 years apart in age, she's 67, he's 57. They didn't have the best. They didn't have an amicable split, I guess we could say. I'll read the comments of what people said about Rocco's art exhibit in a minute. But let's get through this thing. So they say, yeah, Madonna and Ritchie were married from 2000 to 2008 and welcomed Rocco in 2000. They also began a process to adopt son David Banda in 2006, which was finalized in May 2008. The musician already was mom to daughter Lourdes, or as we all know her, Lourdes Maria Chacona Leon, who she also shares with ex Carlos Leon. But by October 2008, the former couple announced their split amid rumors that Danta wanted to adopt another baby and that the two resented each other's career commitments, which is what I said earlier. Madonna was going to be Madonna. She was out here touring extensively and making music and all these other ideas that she has. And he wants to be a filmmaker. I remember at one point they had a nasty custody battle where Rocco basically left his mother because he didn't want to go back to New York because he was living in London with his father. And he didn't want to go to New York to spend the holidays with his mother because I guess he resented her over her work ethic, her career, and all that other stuff. And she's like, I'm going to be the doting wife for a moment, but I'm not going to forego my passions and all the things I want to do for this regular life that we have. Because, yeah, I'm going to be the doting wife and mother, but I got to be able to still go out here and create. I still have to be an artist. I still got to get up on a dance floor and perform and give the fans, I need to artistically express myself. So the Material Girl songstress brought the issue to court, and a judge forced the teen to spend the holidays with the Grammy winner against his wishes. So you can imagine what it was like during the holidays. He probably hated her guts. But the good thing is Madonna has said, because remember, if you saw the Jay Shetty podcast, she spoke about it. And she basically was like, yeah, that when this whole custody battle was going, she contemplated the S word. Glad that she worked through it. But, and we'll get to what she said in a second, but what she said, even though the marriage didn't work out, someone trying to take my child away from me, it was like they might as well just unalive me. She used the K word, but, algorithms and YouTube. And she said, that's what I was thinking. And then she, what is that? I usually here's the quote. It was like, and it was in September when she did the Jay Shetty interview. She said, there were moments in my life where I wanted to cut my arms off, she confessed to Shetty during his On Purpose podcast. I eventually contemplated the S word. That probably sounds really weird coming from me because I'm not emo, but I was like, what, she's saying she's not emo. No, sis, you're a Leo. Because Leo's, Leo's an emotion. You'd be lucky if you could get one of them to show any kind of it. I know, my father's a Leo. Not only that, I have a lot of relatives that are Leos. So, what else did she say? That probably sounds really weird coming from me because I'm not emo, but I was like, I can't take this pain anymore. And she said that it was not in the blame game. She wasn't in the blame game, but though she used to be that way by attempting to seek revenge on those who had wronged her. And trust and believe that she definitely sought the revenge. Hence, if you listen to a couple of them songs on the MDNA album, there was a lot of revenge going on with Guy, as well as that tour. You know how dark that tour was? First of all, I love the MDNA tour, more so than the album. Kind of like how I feel about Mayhem. That album was Mayhem more than Mayhem, but the tour is everything. Same thing with Madonna. Did not particularly care for MDNA, but I love the tour. And all the physical movie style stuff that was brought up in there was giving very much what do they call that? Blaxploitation movie tease and a lot of the references. So yeah, and Rocco was 15 at the time actually, and he's wanted to move to UK to live with his father. Probably because living with Guy, it was more of a simpler life versus Madonna, who has paparazzi following her everywhere. She's a mega star. Guy is he's a filmmaker, but he's not someone whose face is out there. He's someone that works behind the scenes. But you get to see his movies and stuff. So the actor is whoever is more or less promoting that than him. So I can totally understand why Rocco wanted to live in London. There's a sense of normalcy living there. I mean, you can find a sense of normalcy living in New York too, because New York and London are very similar. So I can totally understand want to live in London. But to me, no shade. If I had the ability, I would rather live in London too, because the energy, the culture, how they appreciate art and music and all that other stuff way more out there than they do in the United States. So I probably would have been like Rocco as well and wanted to live with Guy. I know a lot of people feel like, oh, it's probably so much better living with Madonna. But I'm like, yeah, she's a megastar, but kind of want to live like, I just kind of want a regular life. And I don't want to be like, I don't want to be the next Madonna, whatever the case is. I just want to go and paint and all that other stuff. So, with all that being said, Rosie O'Donnell jumped in the comments, was like, congratulations, Rocco. Then Madonna Literals put up some heart emojis. The real Roberto Chavarati, how the hell you say that name? Put a heart emoji. Mike Kilman. Oh, I know Mike. Put a heart emoji. David Beckham said, proud moment. Well done, mate. Stay hungry at Rocco Ritchie. Debbie Major said, boom, congratulations. Then some other person said, both your parents are artists. Of course you're an artist. Great work. He's not the only one. He's an artist. Lourdes is a musician. David Banda, I'm hearing there was a rumor that came out that he plays music as well. And on the MLVC podcast, Stefan interviewed someone who had some tea that basically said that Madonna was spotted with David Banda at Paisley Park, which is, Prince's humble abode. And, they have studios and stuff there. So Madonna was looking around and says, like, I guess, I don't know when, but or whatever, but people want to record that. I guess like Electric Ladyland and all this other stuff, which we have in New York, which is Jimi Hendrix's old recording studio. So when it becomes available, David wants to record his debut album at Paisley Park. So that's the rumor that's going on. So the whole family is multi-talented. Which one is a DJ? Esther? No, Esther was the dance. No, Esther was the DJ. Esther was the dancer and the DJ. So Esther, I believe, is the DJ. Mercy plays the piano. David plays the guitar. So the kids are multi-talented. And who else? Guy Osiri put some heart emojis. Another person said, your mom looks a bit like Madonna. Well, no shit, Sherlock. That is his mother. Are you slow? Maybe they were trying to be funny. Mert Alas from Mert and Marcus put a heart emoji. So yeah, everybody's giving their flowers and all this other stuff. Mr. Gabbana, y'all know who that is, put a bunch of heart emojis. So congratulations to him. I'm glad he's showing his artwork. People are gonna hate on whatever he does regardless. You can't sit and worry about what everybody thinks. I always feel like when people are hating on your work, it clearly means that you're doing something right. So continue to do what you're doing. Don't let these haters deter you from what you're doing and continue to create your art. I do wonder how much them paintings cost, though. Probably an arm and a damn leg. But I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Rocco Ritchie and his parents putting on a united front to show, out at his art exhibit? I guess time heals all old wounds. Madonna was at death's door at one point. Who got time to hold grudges? She's laser focused on a whole bunch of other things. She's got a new album that she's got coming out within the next year. So that's what we're excited for. And hopefully she'll tour in 2027 and take most of 2026 to just promote the album and put out music and, drop singles and put out music videos and maybe a deluxe edition later on and all this stuff. Kind of like my girl Jade with That Showbiz Baby, the Encore. Like, if she can do all of that and laser focus on the record, spend that whole year doing it in 2027, it's like, okay, I'm ready to go out there and do a tour, then we'll be here for it. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. YouTube needs to go back to the originals, but I guess people like YouTube without the Hollywood influence. We're saying YouTube originals? I don't know. I was like, I really didn't pay attention to YouTube originals. I gotta remember what that means. I remember he directed the Will Smith version of Aladdin. Yeah, he's directed a lot of movies. Most recently, I know he did that, what was it called? That movie with Jack Reacher. I forget the name of it. I don't know why I want to say League of Extraordinary Gentlemen so bad. That's not the name of the movie. But he directed a movie recently that didn't do all that well with Alan Ritchson, even though Alan was good in it. The movie wasn't that great. I'm sure you've noticed, but whatever the topic is something that doesn't interest me, I'll leave and come back later. You said Madonna has always supported all her kids' passions, as a parent should. Rocco is Guy splitting image, while Lola is her mom mixed with skin tone of Cuban. Well, she is Puerto Rican and Cuban, right? And Italian. He wasn't as confident in the beginning, but he also didn't want things handed to him because he's Madonna's son. And I guess people really need to take the time to have, you know what? I really feel like there needs to be a podcast or something or another done. Who knows? Maybe I'll do it, where you could interview or, Nepo children and actually sit down with them and have these conversations. What's it like to be the child of a celebrity and the expectations that comes with that? And the fact of the matter, like you were saying, is that he didn't want things handed to him because of who his parents are. It's like, yeah, I have the money and the access and the privilege because of who my parents are, but also I want to prove that I've got talent as well. and I'm not going to be solely dependent on just being, you know, a kid handed an allowance and not really doing anything creative. So who knows? Maybe Madonna was one of those rare parents that encouraged her kids to be creative because they saw that work ethic in both their parents. I remember Rocco painted a mural at a hospital she opened in Malawi. I saw Rosie said congratulations. Yeah, that was during the Rebel Heart tour. Rocco didn't want. Oh, you're talking about the tour when she was going through that Rebel Heart tour. The Rebel Heart tour wasn't my favorite though. I didn't particularly like how that tour was. There was pieces of the tour that I liked, but as a fully fleshed out tour, and it wasn't my favorite of hers. Rocco didn't want to be on the road because he felt like he was missing out on things teens do. Well, yeah, and that was another thing, like her incorporating all the kids and what she does. It's like, yeah, at the end of the day, you gotta let your kids live their lives and stuff. You want them to come out and meet you on tour. Because in the beginning, remember she was doing that when we saw the I Want to Tell You a Secret um film. She didn't bring the kids with her all the time. They would come out every now and again, or you know, but for the most part, they was off doing what they were doing with the nannies. But I also get as a parent, you don't want the nannies to be raising your child, and you missing out on some of the most important things with your kids, which is probably why this time around, Madonna's been taking like a lot of breaks in between releasing records. Like this has been 7 years since we got a new album from her. Probably because she wants to spend as much time as humanly possible with her kids rather than work, tiny break, work, tiny break, and then so on and like rinse and repeat. I'm gonna have to deal with Madonna performing a song where she wanted to. I mean, if I was mad at my husband, I'd be thinking, you know, I mean, I don't blame. It is what it is, child. Speaking of Madonna, they just added A League of Their Own onto Netflix recently. Oh, I haven't seen that movie in a minute. I may have to give that a gander. I hope they actually posted a lot of Rob Reiner movies up on the streaming services as well, too. I know I hate the fact that it's like, okay, when somebody passes away and then all of a sudden you want to watch the stuff. But I'm like, I hope they posted a lot of his films up because kind of been in the mood to watch a couple of Rob Reiner movies. I do like Bang Bang, but I still can't imagine Rocco having to hear that song every night and your dad actually ends up unalived along with his cronies. Since he always put his cronies before his wife, Mercy plays piano. I was like, I knew it was one of them damn kids. David has sang with her on stage plenty of times. Pretty much. A lot of people's kids, you know, but if they sucked, then they wouldn't last long. When I would go to Art Basel with my friend Paul, I'd see paintings being sold for up to hundreds of thousands. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, I guess rich folk have that money. I was gonna say, who got that kind of money? Rich people. I think it's great, but that they put their feud aside to support Rocco and see him happy. Yeah, because I'm like, we grown over here. We ain't got time for that petty childish mess. I saw a lot of Madonna inspired art over the years. And you know Madonna does love art and paintings and stuff. So maybe that's what rubbed off on him because you know his mother's a big Frida Kahlo fan and she likes a lot of art. And remember, she dated an artist, Jean-Michel Basquiat. So well, she dated a lot of people back in the day that were in the arts and that sort of thing. So he said, what's it like being a Nepo? Exactly. That should be the first question. Or maybe call it you can call it that. What's it like being a Nepo or the Nepo Diaries? And just interview a lot of Nepo babies. From Drew Barrymore to Rocco Ritchie. Child, I was about to say too soon, but you could probably go to the prison and interview Nick Reiner. Why you did what you did, dummy? That'd be the first question. All right, y'all. So now let's see where we're going with the rest of the show. Let's get into some homosexual news. And let's talk about Boots. So Boots, unfortunately, was canceled by Netflix yesterday. So while we were doing the show yesterday, I was talking about Heated Rivalry. And then it was mentioned in the show, well, after I did the segment, that Boots had been canceled. So I happened to look it up, and upon further information, yeah, the show was canceled. I even saw the Black Gay Comic Geek, who I like. I like his stuff. he basically did a whole rant about it. And I'm just sitting there like, Netflix, what are y'all doing? Why every time we get a show that we actually like, here y'all go canceling it? And we supposed to try, and this is the part of Netflix that irritates me and makes me worry about y'all acquiring Warner Brothers Discovery. Like, I'm liking all the revolutionariness and y'all promising that you're not going to close up the window anymore regarding the day, movie releases versus putting it on streaming. But when y'all come out here and y'all start canceling stuff, it's so annoying. And I feel like y'all probably doing this because of the current administration. But look, we got heated rivalry, and people are living for that. And if HBO was like, or Crave, because actually, I think it's probably also what saves it. It's a Canadian show that's being imported by HBO Max. So HBO is not putting the money behind heated rivalry. Crave over in Canada, that's their show. So America just acquired the IP and I guess paying a fee for it. So the stars of hit gay military drama Boots have responded after it was axed by the streamer after one season. So news of the cancellation was shared last night, December 15th. By Deadline, with the publication reporting that Netflix has opted not to move forward with the further seasons of the coming of age series, despite it scoring a very impressive 90% critic and fan approval score on Rotten Tomatoes. While Boots' leading men, Miles Heiser and Max Parker, are yet to comment on the show being binned, a number of the show's supporting cast members have responded to the news. Now, writing on Instagram stories, actress Ama Ayoro, who plays Captain Denise Fajardo in the series, said that the cancellation marked the end of our mission. Saying, quote, with great honor, deep gratitude, I thought she was going to say it's great and great responsibility. With great honor, deep gratitude and heart, I salute you all for supporting us and this beautiful, much needed story. Captain Fajardo, this experience, these humans, this opportunity expanded my life. I am forever changed, she added. Now, Blake Bird, who played John Bowman, said that it was difficult and unfortunate that the show had been renewed and apologized to its fans, saying, I'm sorry won't be doing a round 2 for Boots, but thank you all for the love and support throughout the show. I made family for life, and we made something beautiful, he wrote on Instagram stories. Sometimes these things happen and it's out of control, but I hope the show touched your heart, and you will find that strength deep in your soul to always overcome, believe in yourself, but ultimately lead with love no matter what. He added that while he wished that he and the cast could go back and have a round 2, he was immensely grateful and proud of his co-stars, including Heiser, Liam O, and Max Parker. Now, Dom D. Goodman, who played Nash, shared a screenshot of the show's Rotten Tomatoes score, adding 1 for the books. Saying, quote, I gained so much from the show, new brothers, new understanding of my own family history with the Marines, and a taste for what I'm capable of as an actor. This job pushed me, it grew me, and I'm grateful to have gotten such an amazing experience. Actor Angus O'Brien, who played Thaddeus Bo Sterling Hicks, thanked the show's cast for their love and care, and someone who walked into the set newly sober, nervous as hell, and trying to figure out this next part of my life. Saying, all I can say right now is thank you to friends and to strangers who watched and shared a sweet word. Your kindness has meant the world to me. Now, for those who aren't familiar with the show, Boots followed Heiser and Cameron Cope, who spontaneously joined his friend Ray McAfee, played by O, by signing up to the U.S. Marine Corps. Set in the 90s, the show followed Cameron's experience as a queer recruit at a time when being homosexual in the military was illegal. Now, while undergoing the brutal training of the boot camp, because, if you go into the Marines, that's the most brutalist of trainings that you could take in regards, or even like regarding the type of service. If you go into the Army or the Navy or these other things, the Marines, they always say it's hardcore. So Cameron and the other recruits slowly discover their true selves and build bonds along the way. Now, despite being based on a true story in the 2016 memoir, The Pink Marine by Greg Cope White, the Pentagon slammed Netflix for the series, dubbing it as woke garbage shortly after the series soared up the Netflix charts. Now, White reacted to the cancellation news by sharing a comment by writer James Duke Mason, who described the cancellation as so sad and disappointing. Saying, thanks for the love of my story, White wrote on IG stories alongside a broken heart and angry face emoji. It found a legion of fans and cemented itself as part of 2025's pop culture, with several publications listed as one of the best TV shows of the year. So it's like a lot of people thought they said it was a good show. It did well on Rotten Tomatoes. The Trump administration, even though we all know they probably didn't watch a single episode, heard about it, decided to rage bait like they do with everything else, similar to what they do when they go and they play liberal leaning artist songs like a SZA or a Taylor Swift or whatever the case is, play their music over some ICE recruitment BS propaganda and want to seek outrage from these celebrities. They said they do that on purpose because they know it's going to get them attention and it's going to get you riled up and they wind up in the news. That's the main goal. It's all about media, shock and awe, getting people riled up, rage baiting. That's, getting those endorphins, popping. That's what they do. So it's all intentional. But it's sad that yet again, we have another show, queer-centered, that is canceled by a streaming service. There's been too many of that happening this year. And especially Netflix has been at the forefront of that. Like, what's going on with that? I don't understand the whole point of, like, why we're not getting that representation. But then again, you get donkeys like this one, because I almost forgot to bring this up. This airhead had the nerve to sit up in here and start off her post using gay lingo and then sit up in here reading about, well, why we gotta have all these gay people on a lot of TV shows. This is what this airhead had to say. This lingerie reject.
Guys, no shade, no tea, but why do we have to have LGBTQ plus representation in all of the shows? Like, I'm telling you, every single new show that I've watched, they have to throw in a random gay couple. They have to throw in a random trans person. And I just don't understand it. I just don't get it. I understand there's gay people among us and there's trans people among us. Not everybody wants that in their shows. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know y'all are there, but y'all are trying to normalize it by putting it in our shows. And these are adult shows. I'm not talking about kid shows. Don't even get me started with the kid shows. That shit does not need to be in fucking kid shows. But adult shows too. Sometimes they do a good job of adding that in there, but sometimes it just feels forced and it kind of just ruins the vibe of the whole movie or the whole show. You know what I'm saying? Because they're forcing that shit in there. Like, you can tell with some movies and some shows, they did not originally have a gay couple, or they did not originally have a trans person there. They threw it in there. I don't know. I just noticed that recently that they just had to. I just noticed that with all these new series that I've been watching, they just randomly throw in gay people. And I just was just like, guys, no shade, no tea.
This bitch is an idiot. Like, number one, this is what I always say. Some of y'all should be seen and not heard. And y'all be really thinking that y'all just jump on y'all phones and say stuff and thinking y'all be so correct in what y'all be saying. But like Stephen A. Smith and that full head of his, or I should say 6 head, because that's how big it is, y'all just be loud and wrong. And I remember that people was in the comments getting on her talking about, well, the same thing you said about gay people, once upon a time, not that long ago, they were saying the same thing about black folks. The fact of the matter is, why is it that, when you say why they put in so many gay people and stuff, white people said the same thing. Why there's so many black people in a lot of these programs? I want to watch these N-words, and that's the word they're using up in these shows, where it took many of boundary pushing things or groundbreaking situations for us to get to be seen in a lot of programs. We used to a lot of groundbreaking shows like Good Times or Julia with Diane Carroll, may she rest in peace, as the first black woman to have her own show. Oprah Winfrey making history in the talk show realm, and so many others who have made waves for black people to be able to have the shows and the platforms and things that they've had today. So yeah, they did mention that, but let me read some of the comments because they ate her dumb ass up. So one person said, did y'all catch season 3 a record of Ragnarok? We need to discuss. I don't know what the hell that is. That's Duran Bernard being a mess. I wrote, how are you using our lingo and then under the same breath trying to bash the gays? She is definitely short but slow. Another person said, girl, bye. Go complain to the producers of the shows and stop projecting your ignorance online. Someone pissed her off, LOL. Probably her man slept with another gay man and she mad over it, or probably thought she was trans, because she definitely gives that. Another person said it's not listening to nobody who's wait, what? I'm not listening to nobody whose leave out is left out. I don't know what that means. Dominique Jackson, shout out to her, Tyra Allure, put a bunch of laugh emojis up in it and tagged the dumb bitch in the comment. The other person put shut up. Another person said this conversation is so tired. Not everybody is straight. The end. Another person said, "Why using gay lingo? LOL, love it." No, Charlie Exile said, "Because we exist just like how y'all exist." Damn. Another person said, "Oh, I am the queen of shade." She said, "Oh, honey, I swiped and got my life." She ate her alive. Oh, because there's this one. Let me play y'all this clip, because this lady definitely, she ate her up. Hold on. Let's play what she had to say.
Now I'm going to show you, a woman of color, how moronically ignorant you sound. Guys, no shade, no tea, but why do we have to have Black people represented in all of our shows?
On you, every single news show that I watch, they have to throw in a random gay couple. They have to throw in a random trans person.
Like I'm telling you, every single new show has to throw in a random Black or brown person.
I just don't get it. I understand there's gay people among us and there's trans people among us. Not everybody wants that in their shows. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know y'all are there, but y'all are trying to normalize it by putting it in our shows.
I understand that there are people of color among us, but not everyone wants them in our shows. We know y'all are there, but you're just trying to normalize it by putting them in our shows. All of that sounds pretty awful, doesn't it? Well, it's exactly the type of things that white people said about seeing Black and brown people in TV shows and movies not that long ago. If it wasn't for representation of Black people being shown in TV, we would never have groundbreaking shows like The Jeffersons, Good Times, or even shows like Julia, where there was a female lead, Miss Diane Carroll, who was a Black woman. Now I'm going to show you, a woman of color, how moronically ignorant you sound. Guys, no shade, no tea, but why do we have to have Black people represented? It's so disappointing to see someone from a marginalized community do the same thing that has been done to them to others. And let's take it a step further. The same thing happened to schools. They didn't want Black kids to go to school with white kids because it wasn't normal. But guess what? The LGBTQ community is normal, just as people of color are normal. And everybody deserves representation. It's so disappointing to see someone from a marginalized community do the same thing that has been done to them to others. And let's take it a step further. The same thing happened to schools. They didn't want Black kids to go to school with white kids because it wasn't normal. But guess what? The LGBTQ community is normal, just as people of color are normal. And everybody deserves representation. It's
And then also, when it was some other whole Black, with what she said, the airhead did address it. And here's what she said.
Y'all swear you're eating me up with the same fucking comment. What would you say about Black representation? Y'all can't compare ethnicity and sexuality. You're born into your ethnicity, your sexuality, you get to choose, and it's who you're attracted to. But at the end of the day, it's preference. I prefer to watch straight couple. I'm in a straight relationship. Y'all call me homophobic, this, that, and the other. But I'm just saying all the shows that are supposed to be about straight couple, about a Black woman and a Black man getting together, there's always a random gay person in there. But it's preference. If you want to watch shows that only
This bitch is an idiot. I'm just like, what shows though? She sits and makes these general comments, but it's like, y'all need to stop just randomly saying stuff and actually have examples. Like, I need you to name a couple of shows, especially when I just showed y'all earlier that queer-based shows are being canceled. But according to this fucking idiot, this, horsehair having hoe running up in here making these comments saying, oh, look, gay people are everywhere. They're just putting them in all our shows. What shows, bitch? I'm waiting to hear from you. And of course, somebody being like, but y'all know, be easy on the comments. Well, she up in here saying her ignorant shit, and I'm gonna use derogatory words because I can. That's why. Just like she could be ignorant, I could be just as ignorant as this dumb bitch is. But anyway, so another person said this is confusing. Don't they always throw in random straight people in shows too? Another person said she had an what is it, an IEP in school? I just know it. I don't know what the fuck that means. Another person interested in how this used as a clapback by people. Okay, whatever that means. Complaining about LGBTQ representation while using LGBTQ vernacular is rich. Another day of the straight saying in our business unprovoked. Another person put, girl, just get comfortable. There's more to come. And another person, we're just going to this to be the final one. Not somebody saying who is this drag queen. Well, she like I did kind of compare her to Lana Del Rey, even though I did meet Lana Del Rey and we said hello and all other stuff. There's no read towards you, but she giving drag queen vibes. That's why I compare her to Lana Del Rey. And just before I even read this comment, first of all, Todrick is the one that said that. Let me respond to him. I'll put Lana Del Rey. It's like, is that shady? That's what she looks like. But anyway, the last comment is like, internalized white supremacy is tearing our people up badly. Opening a homophobic tangent, borrowing language from the gay community is an interesting choice. Also, gender/gender identity is a choice. Your sexual attraction is not a choice unless your sexuality is fluid, giving you the ability to choose beyond a singular sexuality. Sometimes writers try to fulfill a narrative for inclusivity and representation purposes, and it might not always land genuinely. It could miss the mark and feel like tokenization, forced and or disingenuous, which has been a complaint about that I've felt in regards of stuff like this many a times when I've had these conversations. I do agree with that it does come across that way. It's like they mean well, but a lot of times when y'all talk about certain things, it definitely comes across as tokenization, forced and or disingenuous, which I think was my issue with And Just Like That. It felt like that when it came to some of the characters on that show, rather than you just genuinely showing that there is diversity when you are someone who lives in New York. It can miss the mark and feel like tokenization, forced, and or disingenuous, and that's for our community to judge and decide. It's also not lost on us that a common homophobic dog whistle is they're trying to force gay people onto me everywhere in entertainment/media. Gay, trans, and queer people exist in real life more commonly than who's portrayed in media. Reality normalizes that. Queer, inclusive media is also more niche than people realize. There's endless new heteronormative media to consume. No one's putting a weapon to her body, forcing her to consume gay material. That is the actual choice. And shout out to Convict Julie, who wrote that. You ate with that last comment. And on that note, we gonna end it there. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Boots getting canceled? And that's why I want to bring that up, because this is the reason why we need the representation, because we get these ignorant ass people that come up with these donkeys that come in here and say shit like this. And all we as queer people want, and as someone who's an artist and creative, we just want to see any kind of representation on our screens. People are still clamoring, and we just talked about this the other day with oh my god, the actor that played Chance on Noah's Ark. We just talked about this the other day, where it was talking about like people they want Noah's Ark to come back so bad, and it's like it's not up to us; it's the networks. So the networks aren't really pushing for diversity the way that y'all acting like that they are. But it's easy to come up on here and cause this gaslight and this rage bait, this dog whistle for attention. Like what she's doing. Oh, every time I turn around, they shoving things down my throat. They forcing me to watch. Nobody. First of all, girl, just like nobody forced that. You know the way they put that hair up in your head when your hairline is all the way back here. If nobody forced you to walk around with that do, or I should say that don't, but that's what you're doing. That's a choice. But you want to come out here and say they're forcing you this stuff on you. Have you started eating the box yet? Because that's what it makes it seem like you're doing. If somebody's forcing you or forcing queer stuff on you, then are you eating pussy yet? Let us know. Because that's the way y'all be acting. Y'all think that when you see any kind of gay representation, it's going to turn you into a lesbian. That's what you really got to wrestle with. That maybe you got some underlying feelings that you're not willing to deal with because you're worried about what society thinks. But you want to throw all this homophobic stuff out there because it's going to give you some type of clout or any kind of an ounce of attention on social media. Well, I hope it was worth it. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know your overall thoughts on this story in the comments down below. Hold on, I went up too far. It's alleged Boots was canceled because of Pete Hegseth's complaint of woke military saying gay people don't need shows. Well, it could be it, but also the ratings went up because with the Trump administration saying what they said, Netflix decided. I mean, and here's the thing: I do wonder if because remember, and it might track. Um, Ted Sarandos did go pay Trump a visit in order to get this merger to happen with Netflix and Paramount Plus. Paramount was pissed over the situation. Netflix and Warner Brothers Discovery. Would have during the conversation, that was one of the deals that had to be made. Similar to, remember, there was stuff that was going down with firing Jimmy Kimmel, and then the outrage started, and they had to bring him back. So, and Paramount having to pull certain stunts in order to get their merger with Skydance, or Skydance having to pull the stunts that they had to get the merger with Paramount, I should say. So there could be some truth to that. Boots being canceled is why I won't believe Welcome to Derry is renewed until I see it on my screen. Yeah, because well then again, here's the thing. I believe that the merger between HBO, well, Warner Brothers Discovery and Netflix doesn't happen until the end of 2026. So if HBO is smart, what they would do is they would film both seasons back to back in case something like that happens. If there's a legitimate threat that the show might be in jeopardy, because that's not what they want to support. This was a strategic move on Netflix's part. They need the government supported by Warner, but the government has criticized Boots for being, so that's what I said. It's like y'all need the support, so you have to, unfortunately, shows have to be sacrificed in order for that to happen. Once the merger goes through, I guess Netflix will be like, okay, we got our thing. They can't tell us what to do no more. Then we can create all the queer shows that we want. Quite as a scale, how many homosexuals is running around in that administration? Okay, exactly. It's like you want to say that, they're showing it. No, you have a problem with gay people. Someone must have fucked up her hairline. That's why she mad. It was like got relatives like this though. They get on my Virgo. They get my Virgoing the holiday. This is why I avoid a lot of my family members around the holidays. So I won't be around the motherfuckers. The only time I want to see y'all is if we burying somebody, and even then, I'm only see y'all briefly. God forbid we exist. I love some of my girlies, but to say this ish while using black, gay, and trans ballroom lingo, hello, and especially when you look trans, that's why she mad, because somebody must have called her a man and she upset over it. That's where a lot of that deep-rooted homophobia and transphobia comes from. It's even worse when it comes from another marginalized. Oh, yeah, because they think that if I go and throw shade at you, then they'll take all that off of me. I was like, but when they done with you, you don't think they're going to come back? I mean, done with them, you don't think they're going to come back to you and do the things that they've been doing? Oh, I'm confused by it. Why you couldn't just say special ed? Because I didn't know anything about IEP. I know special ed. But I was like, what's IEP? He said special education, individual education. Oh, okay. So yeah, she definitely gives special ed. And somebody got mad. That's the first thing that's the first thing she went to. I don't understand why when people see, and this is what irritates me about the hypocrisy of people. Y'all get mad when somebody claps back at the people that throws the shade. You threw the rock first, bitch. I'm saying bitch in general. So I'm not referring to anybody specifically. I'm like, you threw the rock first. Throwing it back. Well, fuck the rock. I'm grabbing a baseball and I'm hitting you with that. I'm gonna find something bigger and messier and it's gonna hurt you to come back at you. You come in with a stick, I'm getting a bat. An aluminum one. Fuck a wooden one. So I'm coming back 10 times harder. Like, turnabout is fair game. If you come at me hard, I'm coming at you harder. You pinch me, I'm punching you. So that's how I do it. I was like, I'm not coming to your level. I'm going further down. I told you, we go low. I go to the fiery pits of hell. I'm tap dancing on all 5 rings of, Hades. The level of ignorance, narcissism, selfishness was worse. She probably Gen Alpha. No, really. I think what age does Gen Alpha stop at? Like 14 or whatever? I don't know. I was thinking Gen Z. I'm convinced that straight black folks bash on queer folks because it makes them feel like they no longer at the bottom of I mean, no shade, but black women, y'all are further down the social hierarchy than gays are. Y'all really are. So I don't know who told y'all that. So they talking about that y'all is about no, because it's like, anyway. I feel that with they're another one. Latinos, y'all thinking y'all exempt, and this current administration showed y'all not exempt. YouTube doesn't like the word. They do not. Okay, so she probably is Gen Alpha. People get mad like, why you saying she was that's our go-to. She's special and you say something dumb, we think your ass slow. Wait, what's the word? Well, you said that's FAB. Wait, why am I having a slow moment? It's like, wait, they censoring words on YouTube? Who knew? Did not know they was out here censoring stuff. But anyway, let's get back into the show. And let's talk about a show that's not canceled, Heated Rivalry. So yesterday we talked a bit about Jordan Firstman had went in on the show and was saying, oh, the HO phobia work. I mean, that's what it is. Here y'all go censoring things when people are actually what they are. But okay, so I saw what it was. It was like, okay. So yeah, Jordan Firstman got dragged on social media after he critiqued the show's sex scenes, saying that that's not how real people fornicate. That ain't the F word he used, but y'all got the gist. So apparently, after being dragged on social media over what he has said and things, he's now backpedaling off of, what he has said. Oh wait, that's not the picture. That's somebody else. We'll keep that one up for the next topic. It's this one. Okay, so yeah, that's Jordan Firstman right there. So um in an interview with Vulture, published on December 11th, the actor, writer, and comedian slammed the queer hockey romance as inauthentic, saying, I'm sorry, I watched those first 2 episodes of Heated Rivalry and it's just not gay. It's not how gay people look. There's so few things that actually show gay sex. Firstman claimed a straight guy could not write about gay sex despite the fact that Heated Rivalry's creator, Jacob Tierney, is a homosexual. His remarks sparked backlash online with the show's star Francois Arnaud hitting back at Firstman on Instagram, saying, is there only one way to have authentic gay sex on TV? Should the sex closeted hockey players have looked like the sex scenery LA gay guys have? Arnaud wrote in an Instagram comment that has accumulated almost 30,000 likes. The backlash appears to have forced Firsthand into submission. I think they meant Firstman. Wait, what's his name? Firstman. They spelled his last name. They put Firsthand into submission. He took his Instagram story on Saturday, December 13th, writing, I love Heated Rivalry, and ultimately I'm of not the F word. He used the F word. Rhymes with maggot. Rhymes with maggot who can't shut the F up, but I'm gonna get better at that. Season 2 of Heated Rivalry, as you already know, has been confirmed. Created, written, and directed by Jacob Tierney. The show follows the multi-year story of Ilya Rozanov, played by Connor Story, and Shane Hollander, played by Hudson Williams, 2 rival hockey players who engage in a passionate romance. Now, based on Rachel Reed's Game Changer series, the show has made waves thanks to the actors' chemistry and incredibly steamy sex scenes. Now, in 2023, Firstman spoke to Pink News about letting it all hang out in his X-rated film Rotting in the Sun, The indie comedy thriller made waves at Sundance after headlines declared Rotting in the Sun is the movie with 30 dicks, instantly putting it on the radar of millennial Instagram gays. First of all, how am I just now hearing about this Rotting in the Sun movie? I didn't even know about it. And they said it came out in what? 2023. Well, they said letting it all hang out and they gave it an X rated because it's penises. Why is it that when they show peen, it's X rated? But y'all show anything else is rated R? I mean, it's part of our anatomy. But y'all act like Hollywood be acting like men are Ken dolls out here. Have to hide their bulges and superhero costumes and all kinds of mess. So the comedian, he said that in 2021 he opened up about the misconception that the gay community's suffering is over. The comedian has previously faced backlash over his tweets, including one which he joked about hiring a black woman to fight in my place when needed. In a separate tweet, he joked about killing homeless people. He swiftly apologized on his Instagram, sharing that the jokes were posted in 2012 when he was 19. Okay, well, we're not going to hold it on people who could be just ignorant and say all kinds of crazy stuff when they're young. But I've heard this guy's kind of insufferable. When we were doing a show yesterday, Lanier basically was, friend to the show, had made some comments about him and stuff regarding like his sense of humor and his show, whatever. I've never seen that show that he does. I heard Josh Hutcherson is on it. Also saw when I went to watch Welcome to Derry, the last 3 episodes last night, the show that he's on is there. So I'm gonna have to check that other show out regarding the one with the bunch of dicks in it. Rotting in the Sun. I need to definitely check that show out. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, like I said yesterday, it's a show with gay sex in it. Everything is like, it's a series, like scripts and everything. It's choreographed like a dance. So I don't know what kind of sex he was expecting to see in the movie, but I mean, in the show, but it's 2 guys doing stuff with each other. And there's no one way to have sex. Because when I'm looking, I'm like, gay people have sex like what they was having? I mean, what you want to see, peen? Is that what you wanted to see? You want to see what their dicks look like? Because you went and did a movie where you showed a bunch of dicks in a movie. So until you're the one who's show running, unless you're a critic, I don't think another peer someone who works in the same space as the rest of these other performers should be critiquing someone else's show. I mean, if you're going to critique, you got to learn that there's going to be some backlash that comes with that. So I guess he didn't like a lot of the heat, so he decided to apologize. Now, in addition to that, now that we got that out of the way, we have this story where an out hockey player basically is taking an opposite approach to what Sean Avery said the other day. So Brock McGillis, the first out homosexual professional hockey player, has poured cold water on the idea that a heated rivalry will appear to help players come out, saying, quote, nobody's like, oh yeah, this came out and now I'm ready to come out. It's not happening, he told the Leviticua news site Pink News on Monday. It's probably more likely to have an adverse effect on a player coming out. And I hate to be negative because I really enjoyed the show, but I also don't believe that many hockey bros are going to watch it. And I don't think if they're watching it, they're talking about it positively. Especially when someone who works at the Garden, and I've done quite a few Ranger games, the overall base of people that come to Ranger games are conservative. Some, I would even say, have voted for Donald Trump. So that's the kind of energy that it gives. You get like this very bro sphere of guys, older and younger, whatever the case is, family oriented. Although I'll be watching some of you dudes when y'all have a couple of drinks up in you, how little handsy y'all tend to get. Not with me, but with each other. So I be sitting there like, it's giving very like, y'all be doing stuff when y'all have a bunch of lick up in you. Oh, y'all be doing some things. Like I get that vibe. But to actually come out and embrace homosexuality in the way that this show is hoping that it will have someone in the closet as an athlete come out, I don't think that will happen, especially in this country, the way that sports and things are. And don't get me wrong, there are queer people that love sports. I mean, hence we have sports bars. I'll speak for New York. We have quite a few sports bars. We got boxers and we have gym bar in Chelsea. So we have sports bars. There are queer people that love sports, but to expect, I don't want to be a negative Nancy either. I mean, I hope that we could get to a place where they could be more accepting of queer people in sports, but I don't know. I don't see that happening. I'm not saying all people that go to sports games will be homophobic, because I don't think that that's true. But quite a bit, a lot of bit of people that attend them tend to have that. Although I will say that I haven't heard any people say anything remotely homophobic, like shouting any slurs, whatever the case is. First of all, I'm the type that if I'm in a vom and if somebody says something that I hear cursing, whatever the case, I was language, watch it. There's kids in here. So usually when I say that, a lot of them will back down. But it's like, yeah, I'm like, we're not doing the bad language and stuff up in here. There'd be some people that'd be scared to say stuff. Not me. Not me at all. And they encourage us, like, yeah, y'all need to, if you see something, say something. Isn't that the old phrase? So they were talking about Jacob Tierney has spoken to their hopes that the slice of queer representation will help some of the viewers that it finds, perhaps even within a sport that demands perfection and masculinity, as Williams put it in a Friday interview, saying there's both like the representation of queer character and a lot of people relate with, whether they feel like him or they feel like they knew him. That element is really beautiful, and I didn't know if it would connect. You only hope that it is on the person-to-person level where they're looking you in their eyes and that means something. Well, hopefully, here's the thing that I'm hoping with this show is that what it will do is, well, if you don't know any guys that are sports fans that will watch this show if they're straight, but if they're girlfriends or if you're a woman who has children or whatever and is watching Heated Rivalry and you're looking at this show, maybe you can kind of break down, maybe the women could be the ones that break down the homophobia within the sports world. Maybe they could be the ones to do it, because they did say that Heated Rivalry is predominantly watched by a lot of women, which is probably why in the previous post, Jordan Firstman said what he said. Because mostly women are watching this show and he's probably worrying about, well, yeah, this is not how gay people have sex. So heterosexual women are watching this and they're thinking that this is what gay people are doing. And he's like, that's not realistic. But neither is the show. I mean, I'm sure some of the stuff in there is based on actual events, but for the most part, it's a TV show. So they want to say, though McGillis describes hockey players generally as really good people, he also explained the language, behaviors, and attitude that you get in locker rooms are sometimes homophobic. That starts at a very young age and progresses throughout your whole life. You're programmed to feel that everyone will hate you and you'll lose your career. That's the element he feels is missing from the show's depiction of the culture around professional hockey. Because it was saying that McGillis, who is now retired but played professional hockey for a decade while in the closet, isn't so sure. He said, episode 1 gave me a panic attack. I was scared. I dated a guy for 3 years. Not a soul in my life knowing. We had an alias for me in his phone in case his friends ever saw. Same thing like with the show. That's why he had a panic attack. Because, they did come up with aliases for each other and they used girl names. And so it's like, yeah, I do agree with him on that I feel like you're programmed to feel that everyone will hate you and you'll lose your career. That's the element that's missing. Because it's like, if you're doing all of this other stuff, it always feels like it's giving romance novelties with the way that they connect and they have sex. No, you need to have the whole, we got to sneak around. You're worrying about people. And you get that between, Shane and Ilya. You definitely get a bit of that with those scenes. But when you're really trying to explore this world, especially with the other character we saw in episode 3, who was messing with the guy at the smoothie shop, I want a little bit more of that too, which was like a lot of the duck and cover, cloak and dagger type stuff. And it wasn't given that. It was given a little too like lovey-dovey, and I feel like y'all was being a little sloppy in the way y'all was meeting up and stuff until we got to the end part where it's like Kip, I believe was his name, that worked in the shop, wanted to get serious with Francois's character. And he was like, I can't because I'm in my career. Like, I can't show up at this day. And yeah, they can say, oh, you're showing me as my friend, but your friends know you're gay. A lot of people are going to make speculations with me showing up with you because, you know, people have this ignorant belief that straight guys can't be friends with gay people. And I have a lot of straight male friends. And I don't be trying to sleep with them and hit on them. In fact, I feel more, no shade, I feel more connected to my straight male friends than I do the gay ones in a lot of situations. And I do have some cool gay friends, but for the most part, I feel more, you know, homely around or I just feel like I have a much better time in a lot of places. Probably because I've been burned a lot by a lot of rhymes with maggots in the past as having friends. So I just keep very few of them in my inner circle. But so I could totally agree with what McGillis was saying. Now he also recalled when he came out of the closet in 2016, or when his fellow pro Luke Prokop did the same in 2021, though they both took every press opportunity to try to normalize being queer within the elite tier of the sport, that didn't result in other players jumping out of the closet. Heated Rivalry has also faced criticism from the opposite front. Homosexual actor and comedian, as we talked about, Jordan Firstman, he said what he said, whatever other stuff. Then Francois shot back and said what he said. So there that is. So on that note, I definitely want to hear from y'all. Do you agree with our hockey player where that you feel that Brock McGillis, do you agree with him where he says that he feels that, yeah, this is great and all that we have this show and it's so groundbreaking and people are loving it and it's a hit and they're getting a season 2 and all this other stuff, but I don't think that it will move the needle in regards of getting people to, you know, queer athletes to come out of the closet. I mean, in a perfect world, it'd be great that we could see some diversity and representation with having, you know, queer athletes feel that they could be themselves without having to hide and get a beard and all this other stuff. But unfortunately, this is the way that the sports world works. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your overall thoughts on this story are in the comments down below. All right, let's see what the people are saying. They said, I don't know, she was given trans and all, pretty girl, but slow as hell. No, that's why Todrick said, who is this drag queen? I've learned from commenting in your live chat that you can't say the K word. Say what? You can't even say TikTok? GAY. You can't even you can't even homosexual having to use zeros instead. That's crazy. But you know, that's why I be trying to change up certain phrases. He said, I haven't seen it, but that's not actual gay sex. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. It isn't that complicated. All you gotta do is you put your legs on somebody's shoulders, you get in the doggy style, or you do the, you know, I was gonna say you could scissor somebody, but no, that's lesbians. Y'all be the ones rubbing y'all meat popsicles together. Wait, no, meat popsicles, that's what men have. That's what y'all be, you know, you rub your Venus flytraps together. But look, it's like it's not that complicated to have gay sex. What was he talking about? Would you want to bend somebody over like a pretzel or bend them like a pretzel? Like, what was he expecting? Kama Sutra? So I'm like, it's not that hard. Yeah, I remember I remember hearing that. And there's also a gym bar. Well, I don't know if it's there anymore. I remember when I had lived in LA and I went through West Hollywood, I saw there was a gym bar over there as well. I don't know if it's still there at this point. Well, I guess at some level I get it because gay storylines made for straight women are not that interesting for me as a homosexual man. That's what I think it is. It's like what their argument is, and I don't know why you just didn't say that, but I guess they would feel like, oh, you're discriminating, whatever the case is, so you can't come out and clearly say that. But I definitely feel like maybe the overall attitude is you're just upset because you feel that this isn't a show for gay people, this is a show for straight women. Because to be honest, straight women are the ones that watch a lot of our content. They're the ones who are pretty much, I mean, when Queer as Folk came out, mostly women were watching it and gay people were complaining. Which is why I always find it annoying that when they do make stuff for us, we don't support it. I've always been a supporter of our community and artists who come out and speak for me. But a lot of them won't do it. It's probably because of that internalized homophobia. Dancing around YouTube censors. Child, who you telling? I mean, it kind of looked like a Venus flytrap. Show me your teeth. All right, y'all. So we got 4 more topics left to go before we wrap up this show. So before we get to our final 4, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell. And before, so that we when we go live. I almost forgot my own damn thing. I don't like RuPaul forgetting if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? Had a brain for it. So that way, when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Filter, y'all already know. It's funny enough, I don't write nothing down. This is all from up here. Soon enough, I'm going. And it's funny, this thing comes equipped with a teleprompter, so I could use it, but I prefer to use my brain while I still got it. Got to use these, got to use the hamster wheel somehow. Now, speaking of RuPaul, let's talk about Drag Race. So shout out to Bianca Del Rio, who is about to make a return to host the Pit Stop this upcoming season 18. So I was shocked to hear this because I was like, I don't know if a lot of people liked Bianca when she was doing the Pit Stop, but apparently y'all did. I was like, wait a minute, don't I have I was like, I just realized I spelled Bianca Nianca. That's why I couldn't find it in here. Child, I spelled the name wrong. But anyway, we're here. The Hollywood Reporter can exclusively reveal the RuPaul's Drag Race Season 6 winner is returning to host the upcoming season of the show's official recap series, The Pit Stop. With new episodes premiering on YouTube on Saturdays, Bianca will review weekly episodes of Drag Race Season 18 alongside a new special guest each week. No word on Bianca's slate of guests just yet. Well, one of the things I just heard sidebar, Roscoe's already got their people that they're going to have on the first episode, and I'm pretty much excited for this one. When I saw Roscoe's Tavern, the one that Naisha Lopez and them they host, it's Mistress Isabel Brooks and Willem. I was like, when I heard that, I was like, oh, I'm so ready for that one. I am seated because those two on a podcast, on a show together, it's going to be lit. Now, if y'all do all that choppy editing, it's going to piss me off. But for the most part, as long as I get enough of the juicy stuff from the show, I'm here for it. So, and also shout out to Bianca. It would have been nice to see her at the Drag Race Season 18 premiere party last week. But she's probably out here busy like Alaska because all the, they had a lot of the season 1 winners there. The only ones off the top of my head that I can't think of that wasn't there, it was Bianca. Well, of course, Tyra has been banned, so her ass ain't coming. Oh, yeah, Rancher wasn't there either. Raja wasn't there. Bianca wasn't there. Alaska wasn't there. Bob wasn't there. And Trinity the Tuck wasn't there. Anyway, so she said, I'm excited to be back at the Pit Stop and giving everyone my sweet, kind, and thoughtful critiques. You already know that that's a joke within itself. No one will be safe, not even Michelle Visage. A companion to the main series, The Pit Stop began in 2016 as a weekly review of Season 8 and has continued to be a staple in the fan viewing experience. Season 18 of RuPaul's Drag Race premieres on January 2nd at 8 p.m. on MTV, with new episodes rolling out every Friday, followed by The Pit Stop on Saturdays on YouTube. Now, Bianca has previously hosted the recap series tied to Season 15 on the main show in RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars Season 8. Since winning Season 6 of RuPaul's Drag Race, Bianca has remained a beloved queen in the franchise and has since headlined Carnegie Hall and Wembley Arena, performed in the West End, and released her book, Blame It on Bianca Del Rio. She follows All-Star Season 4 winner Monet Exchange, who served as the host of The Pit Stop for the past 2 installments of the main spin-off series, Drag Race Season 17 and All-Stars 10. Drag Race Season 18 features an all-new cast of 14 queens as they vie for the namesake America's Drag Race Superstar, blah, 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 so on and so forth. You already know the tea. So, I don't know why Monet's not coming. Probably because she's so focused. She's laser focused on her podcast. I did tell you I saw her at the season 18 premiere. She DJ'd the party. And so she's probably just busy doing other things, and maybe she wants to focus on the podcast. Or maybe what it is that a lot of people the numbers really wasn't giving in regards of Monet hosting. I don't know. I mean, were people really feeling Monet when she was doing it? Or maybe it was just time for her to move on. But Bianca being a part of it, I don't know. I've always heard mixed bags regarding whether or not people liked her. I like Bianca. I like how unfiltered and crazy her mouth is. I mean, I told y'all, I probably did tell y'all this, but when I was in the circus, we had a Voss Events was doing I think a Halloween special thing with the circus. We had a couple of people there. Bianca was the MC, had everybody in stitches. I mean, everybody was cracking up. The crew, everything. These are some hardcore straight dudes laughing at Bianca. I'm sitting there like, she had them in a chokehold. And the jokes were just crazy. So, and then people was complaining because they could hear her cussing or whatever. And Bianca just kept with the cussing because that's Bianca. So it was her. Valachowski performed, and Cameron Michaels was there, performed. My friend Harmonica Sunbeam was there. So it was a lot that was happening. It was a great show. So I love Bianca. I'm glad that she's a part of this, and I'll definitely be checking her out on the new season of Pit Stop when it comes. I just hope that they allow these girls to be their authentic selves and be unleashed and ask the questions and make the jokes, do all the stuff that they need to do, because it's definitely needed over there at Drag Race at this point. That show is too damn corporate, according to Lady Bunny, which is the topic we're going to get into right after this one. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding what Bianca Del Rio, regarding Bianca Del Rio being the returning host for the upcoming 18th season of of RuPaul's Drag Race season and the Pit Stop. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. All right, so now let's see what the people are saying. True, nobody supported Looking Back in the day. No, Sharon Needles wasn't there. She was another one. She wasn't there. Yeah, so Sharon wasn't there either. Did you watch Mitchell's video of her at the Texas Renaissance Fair? It was hilarious. No, the last one I watched was the last Mistress episode that I watched was with with her in Detox. That was the last one. So I got to catch up with the new ones. I'm actually thinking, because I normally don't pay for people's Patreons, but I might make an exception with Mistress. He said, I love Bianca when she was doing the Pit Stop back in 2023. Monet literally caused a pit, not a pitfall in Pit Stop, no pun intended, viewers, because she was so boring and obviously being fed lines. Yeah, I agree with that. That's what I was wondering, because I did hear people wasn't really feeling Monet, and no shade. I have added Monet's show that she does to my to my must watch list of, like, depending on the people she's interviewed. I've never pulled myself to watch one episode. Like, it's in my history. I do the same thing with T.S. Madison's Outlaws, but for some reason, I prefer Fag Talk over the Outlaws thing. Probably because I'm like, okay, this is a different side of them, and I can't bring myself to want to, watch whatever. But one of these moments, I'll get around to it. But it could be for that same reason when you was talking about, like, yeah, it's just kind of boring. Not you telling me to get to the Lady Bunny story. Magical Mermaid, as late as always. Jokes in the building. It's sad when queens like Monet have to bootleg World of Wonder because they have nothing. Anyway, the Sade. The Sade. Let's get into this Lady Bunny story, because she went in yesterday. I was not expecting this on my bingo card. So yesterday, I was minding my business when all of a sudden, because Lady Bunny and I are friends, And I can hear Sister Face at any moment talking about how Bunny is a racist and all this other stuff, which she has mentioned many a times in my comments. And I am friends with Sister Face too, so shout out to her. Whatever y'all got going on, that's between y'all. I'm not getting involved. But I'm focusing on this whole situation at hand. So Lady Bunny went and posted this lengthy post on her social media yesterday. And of course, everybody was picking it. Well, all the drag blogs and everything was picking it up. Of course, you know, my nosy ass had to screenshot it. So let me pull up, hold on, because then I gotta find it. I have a lot of stuff in here because I don't remember where I put it. Okay, I got it. So yeah, here's the lengthy post. I'm gonna take that out for a second so that way y'all can see it. Shit, I may even have to take this out so y'all can get the full effect. Yeah, it's a whole video or whatever of Rue talking about, I don't know, it was weird. He was talking about um reading a book and all that other stuff, and I guess because he has a book company and that sort of thing. Um there was a whole conversation around that. I was so confused. So here's what Bunny said. Roxy Andrews' catchphrase is you can't read the doll. Well, you don't have to read RuPaul. She does it herself. In this mind-numbing video, Ru begins by complaining about how there's too many ads. Doesn't Drag Race have ads? Product placements? Don't Ru's YouTube videos have ads? Well, shit, mine got ads too. Ru goes on to note that books don't have ads, so read a book. So while she bitches about ads, this is actually an ad for her endorsement deal with Alstora, an online book company she began promoting last year. Girl, sell your books, sell your pussy for all I care. But does she have no self-awareness? You're complaining about ads while doing an ad. Then Rue blames Money Hungry Grubby cunts. Rue is the greediest of them all. At DragCon, Russo pics of himself with fans, but the fans weren't even allowed to get near Rue. A very established queen kvetched about DragCon because there were so many fees for booths, Wi-Fi, and electrical outlets that appeared at the event is no longer worth it. That appearing at the event is no longer worth it. On Drag Race Season 14, Rue descended on a swing from the ceiling to give a moment of fabulosity. No to hawk his chocolate bars. Oh wait, hold on. She said on Drag Race Season 14, Rue descended on a swing from the ceiling to give a moment of fabulosity. No, to hawk his chocolate bars. And I had to get the tone of what they were saying. Mock-ups of the candy formed a showgirl type fan behind I remember that. From product place, remember wasn't that the It's Chocolate season? From product placements to half of her songs being about money, Rue is the ultimate capitalist. Then Rue recommends reading a book as a quiet. Hold on, because that one cuts off. So now I gotta go and look. Something. Here's a book. Oh, I can't make out what that is in the thing. But anyway, so it says, here's a book for you, Rue, a dictionary. By definition, a revolution is never quiet. And please don't use revolutionary lingo. You've often said that you wanted to be a Black artist who was saved for all audiences to like, similar to your idol Diana Ross. Yet Kamala Harris stopped by the Drag Race set mid-genocide for a get out the vote video. In 2016, Rue endorsed Hillary Clinton, saying, I hope she's in bed with Wall Street. Wall Street's Ponzi schemes crashed the economy. You think that someone who has fuck you money might be able to say, fuck you. Not Rue. She's a 100% shill for the establishment. I finally remember Rue going on CNN under George W. Bush to rightly criticize the Iraq War, which was based on lies. I miss that, Rue. No wonder you hawk squatty potty. You're full of crap. God damn, Bunny, she went the shade. And you want to know something? I'm living for it. So I want to know like what happened. But the thing is with Lady Bunny, which I've always appreciated, is the fact that she has always fought and gone against the establishment and stuff. She's not the type of girl that would be running around here and just kissing ass for a check or whatever the case is. That has never been her MO. That is not what she's ever been about. But I mean, whatever other situations that's going on, that's between the people, some people who deeply know her or whatever. I'm not that close with Bunny, but yes, child, I've seen her out of drag. That's as close as it gets, which many people don't get that opportunity. And that's what where it was like I was walking down the street heading to work and she called me. I'm like, me. It was Bunny. I said, it's me, Bunny. And I'm sitting there like, we had a brief conversation. I was heading to work and that was that. So, because I was in Chelsea. And yeah, I was heading to the garden. They was probably heading home because, Bunny lives in the West Village. So with all that being said, um, people in the comments said the following, saying he pushed Russian propaganda for a long time. So I don't look to her for any real information about truth, but I like that she speaks her mind, even if I don't agree with her some of the times. But I am biased. I've been a fan since the early 90s. LOL. She could do no wrong even when she's talking batshit crazy like Haha and Rue. Well, she's the goddess and yes, terribly flawed. And in some ways that I question a lot, but I'm not trying to be her friend. And she puts out good TV. Well, the difference is her and Bunny were friends. And um Bunny and her came up in the scene together. They were roommates. So I can totally understand why she's saying what she's saying. But I do wonder, like, where's all this animosity coming from? I mean, there is truth in what she said. Hold on, because there was one I need to look up too, where my friend Jovan went and spoke um in the situation. I wish I would have screenshot that. Wait, y'all probably didn't even hear the video. Let me play the video for y'all what Rue said.
No, doesn't have tapes. Drinking. Read a book will show those money hungry, grubbing cunts. It'll be our little quiet revolution. Go.
So that's what that whole situation is like. But bitch, how you send them into my advertisements and tell them to read a book because they don't have ads when it's like you literally out here promoting your book company that you put money in. So I can totally understand what's the frustration behind that. So I found it. So my friend Jovan said this, friend to the show. It's funny. I met RuPaul when she launched the Red Hot album, which when I've had many conversations with Jovan, he always says like that's one of my favorite records from RuPaul. And that's a good damn album because I have that CD too. Saying, I met RuPaul when she launched the Red Hot album. It's still one of my favorite albums of all time. I wrote to her email and she responded. My best friend and I got to hang out with her during the entire soundtrack at the club in Denver. She even sang a few songs just for us. She signed a million things and took a million photos with us. I think the way the album flopped changed her immensely. She said, screw it. If no one is going to take me seriously, I ain't either. 2 or 3 years later, Drag Race debuted. Now she's making millions doing stupid stuff and people gobble it up. I'm so happy to have met Rue the moment I did. Heck, I'm still shocked. I found her email easily enough online and she responded, LOL. Another person said, please let me know how you really feel. This was too brief and vague. And Lady Bunny always got a damn opinion about stuff. Another person said, I believe you or RuPaul put me as a celebrity of the week at the world because I have a celebrity name. I think I just turned 18. I brought Ron Jeremy to Palace, debut, and got him on stage for her. Years ago, I said hi to her on Twitter where I was active and nothing, a big deal, no big deal. And I've even been to 3 or more level townhouse. I never even seen her show once. Another person said, Rue and Bunny haven't been friends for years now, so I can understand the perspective. Another person said, Monica Moreau says, I never really cared for her. There was something not right with Rue, and it wasn't till then that I finally realized it. Wait, what? I realized it. Fuck her when I remembered her from way back in the club days. The girls would congregate in the bathroom at this club called The Building many years ago, which is where I met her with these horrible wigs back then. She used to love those bathrooms, probably because she was doing all the drugs in them. But look, whatever the issue that Bunny got going on with RuPaul, I guess is between them. But she posted it, she made it public, so now we all have to speak on it. It's unfortunate when celebrities and things fall out. I would really like to have known like what was the cause of there, this whole drama. But maybe it was like, you know what, when you start to see your friends change and then they start doing capitalist type of stuff or hypocritical stuff, especially when it's like you barely promote Drag Race, you let all these other people do it. Because I was sitting there wondering, I'm like, why don't we ever see RuPaul at the Drag Race premieres? Like, we don't really see him do those shows. Like, if it was my show, definitely I would be there on the red carpet promoting and doing all the other stuff because it's my franchise. Not having Ross Matthews, and there's no shade to Ross or T.S. Madison or whatever, because I didn't see Carson wasn't there. It was Ross and his husband and T.S. Madison. So you had all of them there, and Mark Malkin from Variety. He was also the co-host because we had all the big wigs there. It was like from them to Hollywood. Was it? No, I don't think Hollywood Reporter was there. There was a big line of media that was there. So you had all the media people there, like Variety and all these other people. But so yeah, it's like become one big corporate machine. And I do miss the old days of Ru and the old days of Drag Race, where it was just like this little internet it was this little low budget show and it was edgier and all this other stuff. Now it's like Disney-fied. And I know people got their issues with it, but I'm still thoroughly entertained with the show, and it's become this big franchise, it's become this big thing. And unfortunately, advertisements have pretty much overshadowed the true core of what drag is. This is why I always say we need different aspects of drag representation on our TV screens and not just this one show that's representing it. Yes, we got Dragula. Yes, we got all these other little sideshows. I mean, Dragula is on a streaming service. It's on Shudder. It's got a much bigger budget. So it's cooler things you could do with that. The only thing I have issue with Dragula is the fact that a lot of the drama overshadows all the challenges and things. I would like to see a lot of the floor show and a lot of the costumes and the drag and all the other stuff instead of us focusing too much on the girls bickering with each other. That gets a little boring after a while, kind of like when they do it on Drag Race. But yeah, that's why I was like, we need way more representation. So it's unfortunate this is what's happening, but as somebody who's nosy and likes a little grist for their meal, I'm here for the reads and the shade. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Do you agree with basically what Lady Bunny had to say in her lengthy post that she posted on social media? I definitely want to hear from y'all. And I'll even try to see if I can get her to come on and do an interview. Because I did see that you asked that question, Onyx, when I was doing a little work and stuff, when I was doing the little bells and whistles and stuff with the show. It was like, I'll see if I can get her on if she has anything coming up. I'll slide in the DMs, be like, girl, you want to come on my show and we could kiki? We could talk politics. We could talk about them accusations. And why have you and Ru falling out. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Hold on, I gotta go all the way out. I was like, wait, I'm missing some. When are you gonna do another interview? I would love an interview with Lady Bunny. I was like, wait, you seen my interviews? I was like, I don't particularly like interviews and stuff, but I'll make exceptions depending on who it is. I see YouTube is at it again. What I said that the French baguettes be doing the most and are toxic ASF. Regina wannabes are exhausted. Yeah, I did not know that that's what they be doing over there, where they be censoring a lot of what y'all be saying. I prefer the company of straight men over gay men sometimes. Yeah, it is sad to admit that because you do want to kind of hang around your people, but I don't want to deal with drama and bitchiness and all this other stuff. And if I want to have those moments where I want to hang out with my gay friends, I do that. But for the most part, like if I'm hanging out with you or Miguel, my friend David, a couple of other people, that's different. But when I'm hanging out with my straight friends, it's like I ain't got to deal with the bullshit. We go to a sports bar, we eat, we drink, we eat that, we get that big platter of the buffalo wings and the onion rings, all this stuff, and we just shoot the shit. And sometimes you just want to do that and not deal with drama. I mean, we still be up in there gossiping, talking about people and talking about old times and all the other stuff. But other than that, You don't want to be dealing with all that excess BS that comes with when you're dealing with your own people. So when are you going to do another interview? So I have to hit her up and ask her, say, hey, Mermaid Twin, are Ru and Lady Bunny not friends anymore? It kind of seems like they not, because Lady Bunny definitely every now and again, she will go in on Ru about stuff, fracking and some of the things that he says. But if he puts, it's like, and I guess some people say it's good that she's finally taking a break from bashing Democrats. But she's bashing the same Democrats that I bash, the Hakeem Jeffries, the Chuck Schumers, and all these the AOCs and the hypocritical political things that they do, the Gavin Newsoms. It's like, no, we got to call them out. Were we supposed to be in lockstep because the Republicans do it? I don't think so. Yeah, so. And then, of course, she had her own chocolate bar. Nobody was buying that. I wonder if anybody be buying the little canned drinks that they was coming, that the girls be drinking on the show. I've never tried it. I do agree that it's malicious to promote your tasteless book club by telling people books don't have ads. You already know how many books I go through, and nothing on our store piques my. Oh, what kind of books do they have over there? Have you actually checked it out? What kind of books do they have over there? She's right, though. Rue is a greedy bitch. Seems like everything he does is about money now. Absolutely. And she's got enough money. He's worth $60 million. So you don't think you got enough money, sir? You're one of the richest drag queens on the planet. You're one of the most successful drag queens on the planet. Probably Pablo Vittar is probably right behind you, and she didn't have to go on Drag Race to become a successful drag queen. And you said Rue has said him and Bunny have been friends since they were like, yeah, they've known, they grew up together. They came up in the club scene. They were in Georgia, and then they moved to New York together. They did drugs together. They were homeless together. Like, they came up in the scene. And then Rue was the one that blew up, became the biggest star. Bunny still is famous in her own right. She's still out here doing comedy shows and traveling the world and DJing and doing all those things. I love how this was the breaking point for Bunny. This was built up this thing. Red Hot as the interlude with Child, don't even remind me. I remember Shirley Kulicka was on there. And funny enough, we didn't find this stuff inappropriate back then. Now when you look at it today, it's like, not you put, it's like, no, that's problematic. Back then, we didn't look at it like that. Red Eyes, the interlude with Shirley Kulicka, and the music video for Looking Good, Feeling Gorgeous. She's trying to get wiped off the internet because it promotes colorism. You can tell the money has. Okay. I did notice it's been a long time since Lady Bunny was on. Yeah, because she did that Drag Race episode where they roast her and she was in the coffin. I wish I could experience 2000 eras Rue. Red Hot is a unique album. Yeah, because I remember first of all, I was always out here supporting Rue's stuff, even when her career was in the toilet at many a times. And her career wasn't as big as it is with Drag Race. I mean, she was popping in certain places, but I was always out here buying her music. Red Hot is a unique album for its time. It's Rue's flop era, and those are always the best. The album dropped 3 exact weeks before I exited the womb. Oh, damn, you wasn't even born yet when the album came out. Mm-hmm. My straight friends, a bunch of frat boy energy. I mean, that's what it be given, too. Hold on. You said, I heard Rue's version of Santa Baby when I was at a bar over the week. I don't think I've ever, was that from that Ho 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 album? Which we already know is a pun. All right, y'all. So now, let's go from drag to talking about penises. Because apparently, Armistead Maupin, who y'all may remember from Tales of the City, I almost said Sex in the City. Tales of the City, which I remember that was so groundbreaking when it came out. He said that Rock Hudson was meaty between me down there. So shout out to Queer Tea for this story. I think that's where it was from. No, Pink News, sorry. So Armistead Maupin, who's 81, posted a YouTube video about his relationship with the late actor Rock Hudson. So he shared details of his relationship with Hollywood icon Rock Hudson, including that the actor had a legendarily large penis. Now, Tales of the City author Maupin shared a video on his YouTube channel over the weekend where he went into detail about his relationship with Hudson, saying Hudson was one of the biggest stars. Well, for those who don't know, he was one of the biggest stars of Hollywood's golden age, appearing in such films as Magnificent Obsession, Giant, which also starred oh my god, what the hell's his name? From Rebel Without a Cause? James Dean. Yeah, he was in that. And All the Heaven Allows. He was a closeted homosexual for much of his life and died of SIDA related complications in 1985. If you bilingual, you understand Spanish, you know what I said. Now, Maupin explained that he met Hudson through the actor's lover, Jack Coates, whom Maupin had also slept with. Oh, they was hoes back then. Shout out to the whole community. Because, we all, not all, but for the most part, a lot of us gays, it'd be like a bit of incestuous interlinking that goes on. Not saying like sibling for real, but it's just this one who knew this one who knew this one done slept with this one. So it's a lot of that cross-pollination that goes on. So the pair first met at a gathering in San Francisco, where Hudson read out the first chapter of Maupin's Tale of the City, which had been published in the San Francisco Chronicle. Saying, quote, I kind of think he kind of figured it would get me into bed. And it did, Maupin said. The author recalled the two discussed over dinner how Hudson might come out, with Maupin saying, I'm the guy to do it because I'm out and I know you. The same night, the two hooked up, having a grand old time making out, Maupin remembered, but I wasn't up to the task. Then he said, adding, it was just too intimidating. Maupin also shared that they had better success on the subsequent visits and recall Hudson did have a legendarily large penis. He said it wasn't the prettiest one I ever seen, but it was the biggest. I'm like, okay, size queen. Now you said talking about it wasn't pretty, but it was definitely large. I mean, how do you even equate? Like, it wasn't the prettiest thing I ever seen. Oh yeah, they do be some ugly ones. Quiet as it's kept. So they also he went on to say that Hudson was a very sweet man, adding he seduced the world, at least the world that I knew, by being so kind and attentive. He continued, Rock made it his mission to see that I found a lover, meaning a husband. That's what he wanted for me. However, Maupin struggled with Hudson's closeted lifestyle as his own fame as an out homosexual author increased. The pair continued to hang out, however, including at not the glory holes in San Francisco, as well as the leather bar, the Black and Blue. They said he loved those sexual scenes, but he wasn't entirely comfortable with them, the author explained. I felt like I was helping him find himself. Maupin later clarified the pair never had an official falling out. Now, after Hudson revealed he was living with SIDA in 1985, Maupin did an interview where he collectively outed Hudson. The author, who had said everyone in Hollywood had known Hudson was a homosexual, was condemned by other homosexual men for doing so, though he said he meant his comments in the most affectionate way. Maupin said he never saw Hudson again, but believed there was no bad blood between them. Well, child, you did out him, so there might have been some bad blood. Okay, Taylor Swift? Now, in the caption for the video Maupin wrote, he says, I come to understand that telling this story isn't just about memory, it's about visibility, coverage, and the ways we quietly change each other's lives. I remain grateful for having known him and for a lasting mark he left on me. And you want to know something? Even though, like, a lot of this stuff with Rock Hudson and all those other things, Tab Hunter, all these stories that I've heard over the years, and of course, The Celluloid Closet, if you've never seen that film, definitely check it out. Hearing a lot of these stories about some of Hollywood's most iconic actors is always relatively fascinating. I hope we get to a place where, they keep revealing things about Rock Hudson and so many of the other elder statesmen of actors who were queer, but were in the closet, that we can get some of the actors of today down the road where we start to hear these stories and the infamous stuff that went down. So I've always been relatively fascinated about these stories, and I like the fact that I know some people probably, oh, it's so tacky that Armistead would come out and say the things that he's saying. Because there were some comments where people was getting mad at Armistead for saying what he said. If I can close these damn windows that y'all got open up, because it was on Facebook. So one person said Rock's close friends, his partners, and his boyfriends all were so respectful in keeping his image and livelihood intact. I personally asked 3 of Rock's boyfriends about his size and if he was a top or bottom. All 3 just smiled and winked and said nothing, respecting his memory and an incredible person. So people are, I guess, feeling a way that why is Armistead running around here saying these things about Rock Hudson when you should have just kept it to yourself? Oh no, I'm nosy, so I want to hear. I like hearing stories like this when people like to reminisce about things that encounters that they've had with celebrities. I guess maybe people are feeling away because Rock's not here to defend himself. Another person said a friend of mine who hooked up with Rock in New Orleans once described it as heavy. Another person said, is that where the term hard as a rock came from? Then another person went on to say, I've met both Rock and Armistead when I lived in LA and San Francisco. 2 of the nicest guys. Rock was devastatingly handsome, and I was lost for words when I met him. Another person said, a photo is worth 1,000 words. I'm from Missouri, the show me state. I want to see it. Well, the man's dead, so I don't know how you're going to see it. Naturally, that's what another person said. Naturally, that's what would be a memory of Maupin. A dear friend knew him years ago. He was the head of Hopper back in the day. Not the head of Hopper. Now, when I hear head of Hopper, it sounds like somebody who be sucking dick. Like he was a throat goat, like Nancy Reagan. Another person said he was a big man, and big men are often hung. My partner is 6'3" and well hung. Another person said an acquaintance of mine in San Francisco turned down Maupin, said he was creepy. But then they did meet while cruising in a local park. Jesus Christ. Wait, hold on. But then they did meet while cruising in a local park. In turn, I downed the acquaintance, rather iconic. So I was out here doing that freaking stuff. But look, he said that they used to go to like the glory holes and all that other stuff. So and people, yeah. So overall, a lot of people feel like it's a little tacky for him to say what he said. But look, I don't mind it. I'm like, good. It's good grist for the mill. It's entertaining. We're all having a cackle about it. And look, first of all, anybody walking around saying that you hung like a horse, wouldn't you want to shout that from the rooftops? Because we know y'all a lot of size queens out here. So what you mad for? Because you didn't get to wrap your lips or your hole around it? Seem like y'all jealous. But anyway, so I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story now that Armistead Maupin has revealed that the iconic actor, Rock Hudson, was packing between me down there. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I heard Roosevelt. Oh yeah, I read that already. He said in the Rock Hudson documentary they showed on HBO, a few guys commented on his side. So yeah, and I did see that, but I'm like, I wasn't gonna be able to remember that. And so like if people but people got fickle memories, they're not gonna remember all of that. So of course, because of what the recent thing, they're gonna complain about that. There's a book about the Kentucky 1962 football team called The Thin 30, and it references Rock Hudson having relations with some of the players. I would not be surprised. You'd be surprised how many athletes are on teams that are friends of Dorothy. 1962 Kentucky football team. Our store has a bunch of homosexual-centric books, which there is nothing wrong about, but you would think the books are for the aforementioned straight women. So it's probably what you're basically saying is like, okay, so you have these queer-centric books, but nothing that a queer person like myself can relate to. It's more like queer books geared to a straight audience. Kind of like Drag Race, which has been taken over by a predominantly straight audience. Even though when I was at the premiere thing, there was a lot of homosexuals up in there. But I definitely feel like a lot of those that were there, y'all were a bunch of damn groupies happy to be in a room with other drag race girls. Whereas I feel like I'm at a point where I'm jaded because when you do entertainment based stuff and you're around celebrities and do all this other stuff, it's like, it's just work. Like, hey, how you doing? I'm not here to be all, I'm not trying to be a little friend like that Toby person was, that pictures was getting all posted on social media. But other than that, you know, anyway, let me move on and stop being shady. Is it tacky? But it is tacky, but I'm here for it. As am I. Just sent you a video of Rocco giving a tour of his studio. I'll definitely check that out. Montgomery Clift and Cary Grant were both homosexuals. Oh yeah, we definitely knew that. He definitely has embraced his British side. He's mostly from there. Oh yeah, Raymond Burr, Perry Mason. Yeah, he definitely was a. Oh, they say he was a big old queen. And then most recently, we talking about Anthony Geary. Luke Spencer from General Hospital was a homosexual. So I was like, shout out to you, sir. Hold on. I'm like, will we get in trouble for showing this? Hold on, maybe we could play it on the show. We could hear Rocco. Oh, this boy is fine. I was like, damn, Madonna, you got a fine ass son. Look, he's of age. We could say that now. He's 25. So I could look. Wait, hold on. Let's refresh again.
Let me give you a 72-second tour of my studio. This painting and this painting are the same model, very different technique. I'm having a proportional disaster right now, and my little sisters would not be very happy with this bottom section of the painting. However, I am quite keen on the shoes. What else? Little bits and bobs that I've collected over the years. And then 2 lovely pictures of Jean-Michel Basquiat doing his thing. Some great books. My pigments, my paint, some good ashtrays, good candles to mask up the stinky smell of tarps and paint. Some nice old furniture. I had a leak. I was going to replan to replaster it and do the whole thing, but in the end, I think it actually gives quite a lot of charm and depth to the room, so I've kept it. Even got my little perfect light rig, as you can see that I've designed myself, even goes down, you know. This is my kitchen, making a little coffee, strong, no milk, no sugar. When you're standing up here, it makes the room look much bigger. Francis Bacon, Lucian Freud, my dad, and my mother. I had to put mom in here, otherwise, you know, she wouldn't have been very happy. All right, guys, sorry, I'm gonna have to kick you out because I have another full day of work. So I'm Rocco Ritchie, and let me give you a 72.
So you hear that accent? I remember when he was little, he didn't have one, but you know, for somebody who was living in, it's a, and Madonna actually posted. Madonna come in, she said, excuse me, you had to put mom in here or she wouldn't be happy. Take that back. That's funny. I was not expecting Madonna to be in the comments, but she posted. Shout out to them. I just love me some Donta, as y'all already know. So I just had to show y'all that video. It was like, ooh, that accent. Okay, sir. And he got a little butt on him too. You see him when he was walking up them steps? Because let me stop being a pervert. Anyway, let's move on and let's talk about somebody who actually is a homosexual. Ricardo Martin. I don't even know if that's his name, but that's his name today. So let's talk about Ricky Martin. Because apparently he can't keep his self off these OnlyFans girlies. Once upon a time, I can't remember who it was, but there was some other OF performer that apparently he was lusting with or doing things with, allegedly, and they said that was probably what caused his relationship with Juan Yosef, you know, the whole divorce to happen, because he was out here canoodling with a OF performer. So shout out to Queerty for this tea. They said another day, another shirtless Ricky Martin photo is riling up the internet. While the 53-year-old Latin superstar is no stranger to the art of thirst trapping, his latest body-bearing snap is making jaws drop for various reasons. On Sunday, Martin appeared in a slideshow of images showing off his buzzed head, scruffy beard, and tatted-up muscular torso while lounging on a couch in a bath towel. If that weren't enough to get hearts racing, the fact that he was sitting next to a fully clothed Spanish influencer, Mario Salvador, only served to further pique interest. Things got even more curious as Salvador shared images by tagging Martin and leaving the comment link in bio with the winking emoji. Oh, there's more. Yeah, so it's like you basically using your photo situation with Ricky Martin to promote your OF page, which is like, girl, is this what we're doing in 2025? But then again, a lot of these girls, they be thirsty to have any kind of association with anybody. Yeah, that's the picture where you see the kid and then you see Ricky on the couch, shirtless. Well, who this man? Harpo, who this man? So yeah, so he put Mario Salvador official at Ricky Martin. Ricky says, no, don't lie, sir. We've never met. Who knows? Maybe someday, but not yet. I don't know who he's talking about. I guess this guy but I'm like, the picture is there. And then he posted a link in bio. And then someone asked, what was the passive voice? What does that mean? You talking about they bottoms or something? And another person said, you two look so cute together. Take care and keep your friendship strong. Big hugs and best. You think they friends with benefits? Anyway, so they said that for those who followed through, it led to Salvador's Link Me that included all his social accounts and his OF page. Shocker. Salvador is an OF creator. While he seems to tease that there's more to see from his visit with the Palm Royale star besides the 3 photos, Martin only added to the mystery of their hangout in a very Trumpian move. Martin responded by directing us to not believe what we were actually seeing with our very own eyes. Oh, please. That's something definitely this administration likes to tell us to do. And that's where he said the don't lie, sir, we've never met. Who knows, maybe someday, but not yet. Stop messing with us, Ricky. We see your arm around Mario. Okay. So there was another picture where where you see the picture that he had his arm around each other and he's got a towel on. Now Martin was in Madrid on Saturday for his latest sold out concert, which seems to be around when he met up with the Spanish twunk. Now, based on the slew of comments, everyone wants to know if they are just friends, more than friends, just a fan meeting his idol in a bath towel. Who knows, but Salvador is definitely milking the attention for all it's worth. Of course he is. And a lot of them is going to do that. And I guess Ricky don't mind because here's the thing. Ricky Martin may be an out of the closet homosexual, one of the only ones we know of within the Spanish music industry. Wish there was a whole lot more because trust and believe, Ricky is not the only one out there making Spanish music and like dick. There's quite a few, but they don't want to come out, so we're not going to push them out. But I love the fact that he's out here living his best life, traveling the world, still doing sold out shows, and people still love Ricky for who he is. They don't care that he likes men. Now, if only there were other artists who felt the same, that they could come out and still have like this big legitimate career, because he's selling out shows. So I don't understand why people feel like they need to still remain in the closet. Now, with the post getting nearly 100K hearts, more than 1,200 comments, and nearly 9,000 shares, he wasn't letting the Ricky Martin fantasy end there. The following day, Salvador shared a clip highlighting Martin's comment, negating the entire meeting while insinuating that he was hopeful they would make it a reality. Again, all while sauntering around, shirtless in a gym, of course. Ricky, until it happens, he said in reference to the Puerto Rican heartthrob's words before stopping to flex, I don't bite. Now, child. Okay. So who knows if these two are friends, friends with benefits, whatever the case is. But Salvador is 27 and lives in Valencia, because that's how you're supposed to say it, Spain. He started as a fitness influencer and has accumulated 113,000, followers on IG, 145,000 followers on Twitter, and 170,000 followers on the Clock app, as Onyx, friends to the show, likes to like the Clock app. So it's unclear how Salvador identifies as his homoerotic content, often teases being gay without actually saying it. Well, these days, do we even have to say that you're a homosexual in order to be considered a homosexual? Fact of the matter is, well, quiet as it's kept, there would be a lot of boys out here that be queer baiting. So it's hard to even know how people identify and all that other stuff. Some people, I guess, feel like they need you to say in order for us to know, so that whatever. But allegedly, I'll say this isn't the first and certainly won't be the last OF content creator that Ricky Martin has canoodled with. And why not? You probably get some good sex from them. So they said that about 2 years ago, Salvador made the jump to OF and has racked up more than 200 posts. As far as Ricky Martin connection, the pair's relationship grew closer early this year. In February, he shared an 8-minute video expressing his shock when Martin started following him on Instagram. Saying, "I'm not going to lie, I was completely blown away when I saw it," Salvador explained. In his video, I'll tell you how I found out, what I think about it, and my reaction to seeing what an artist of his caliber has decided to follow me. Could it be that he likes my content, or did he just like me? Well, because you're a cutie. That's probably what it is, that he sees you on here. And I was trying to see if I could pull up his. Did they change how the whole Instagram situation look? Because I'm noticing like Instagram is looking kind of different. I think they must have revamped it or something or another. I mean, he's got a cuteness to him. He definitely look. Ricky definitely has a type. He likes these boys with like big eyes or whatever. Because Juwan had like a whole. Quite frankly, looking at the picture now, he kind of has similarities to his ex. Now that I think about it, look, didn't they say that when Rob Reiner, his recent wife, the one when they was knifed up, that she kind of looked like Penny Marshall, who was his ex-wife. So that tends to happen, that people tend to marry someone who is similar to the previous woman in looks or whatever the case is that they were in a relationship with, or in this case, men getting in relationships with them. So who knows? Until Ricky comes out and says that he's in a relationship, we just going to take it as they just friends. I mean, and look, at his age, he got kids to raise. He got teenagers that are, I think, around the same age as for Lopez's kids, probably like 16, 17. He's got 2 younger children with Juwan. So he's busy being a single father. I don't know if he's got. I mean, I don't know if he's actually looking for a relationship, if that's something that he wants. Maybe he just wants to sit around and have fun. Because a lot of artists are like that. It's like, yeah, this whole idea of y'all want me to settle down like some normal person, that's just not my DNA. I'm at my core an artist. I have to be out here and I have to be, I live an unconventional way. So this whole traditional way of like me having to be in a committed relationship, we just got to find out what the rules of that is. So who knows what their relationship is? But I do find it quite fascinating that Ricky could be on, hunching yet another OF content creator, allegedly. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments. Wait, hold on. I'm like, who is this? Because I was looking at some of these pictures. Anyway, so let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Not so the ego is real. He said he may be selling out shows, but some may consider him a one-hit wonder and nostalgia act. My mother had a crush on Ricky, and when he had a shoulder-length hair, yeah, that was around the time when he was on General Hospital. I mean, you want to know something? If you really think about it, it's like, yeah, he's a novelty act at this point. So he can come out with a couple of songs here and there, but he's not. I don't agree that he's a one-hit wonder. He's got a couple of songs. He got the Couple Life. He's got Living La Vida Loca. He's got a lot of She Bangs. He got a couple of songs. He got that song Be Careful. Isn't that with Christina? Speaking of which, Christina Aguilera, she has a Christmas special coming out. I forget where, but I did see that there was talk about Christina Aguilera has a Christmas special. Everybody's doing Christmas specials now. And congratulations to Mariah Carey, who made history with All I Want for Christmas Is You. So kudos to her. No, Be Careful was with Madonna. But I know, wait, what was the name of the song that he has with Nobody Wants to Be Lonely? That's the name of the song. That's the song he got with Christina. Be Careful was with Madonna. So I knew I was getting my divas mixed up. I did like that song. Both of them, actually. So yeah, so there's that. So shout out to you, Ricky, and all that good stuff. But yeah, I do agree. He is definitely in the category of a nostalgia act. All right, y'all. So now we are at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning into the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Please follow me on all the social media platforms that's in my description down below on the YouTube. If you have not already, one last time, hit that like button. Also, smash the notification bell and hit that subscribe button so you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I'll be back on Thursday. I will not be on tomorrow because I'm working. Andrea Bocelli has a show tomorrow, so I'm going to be working that. So I'll be back on Thursday with a brand new episode of the show. So be on the lookout for that. And love you all for watching. I love you all for the continued support. And hold on, you said Instagram is trying to be like the ticking clock. Oh, you noticed that they changed the look too? Because I was looking, I'm like, wait a minute, why is it looking different? I first noticed it with the Rocco video, but then I was just like, oh, y'all trying to make it look different now. So while we was doing the show, y'all were giving it a little makeover. They definitely are trying to compete with TikTok. But a lot of people are annoyed with Meta and a lot of the restrictions and everything they got going on over there. Especially when I be posting my reels or whatever. Oh, it can't be longer than 3 minutes. I'm like, kiss my ass. I don't care. I'm gonna make my videos as long as I want to make them. But you only get a 15-minute length when it comes up to that. So you can't really have it as long as like on TikTok, I can post long videos up there. On YouTube, I can post long videos up there. On Facebook, I can post long videos up there. Not on Instagram. They cut it off in 15 minutes. Tight ass app. But anyway, and I hate the whole thing with the string key and you can only do a 1 hour stream before you have to create a new one. Like, it's just stupid. While I'm still streaming my show on Facebook Live on both the channels. But anyway, let me get off my damn soapbox and let me get the hell up out of here because it's already about 11 o'clock p.m. on the East Coast. But yeah, love you all for watching. Thank you for your continued support. Until next time, ciao, darlings.